action.
Jesus.
Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to fuck knows what episode we're up to. Gally, help me out here.
83. 83, yeah, 83.
Fucking Lee knows. 83 on Muscle Asylum Radio. Lee is a big listener to the show, obviously. Today we are joined by.
I listened to the last one.
Let me introduce.
I missed the first 81. I only heard the 82.
Yeah. I don't believe that for a second. Listen, let me introduce us all in height order. Myself, Mark Dretch, the tallest one here. Andy Cunningham, Mick the Gift Galley, and one of the legends of Australian bodybuilding, obviously, Lee Priest. Now, I just want to say we are recording this on video. Andy, you're an ugly-looking motherfucker. I'm just going to say you are a mean-looking motherfucker. You look like a gargoyle. I don't know what the fuck's happening with your haircut, Gally. What's going on there?
What's wrong with it?
It's
the same as it's always been.
They shaved half your head.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
You've got no hair.
Trying to go for that Lee Priest look, half on the side going.
Gretch, you've got no hair. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm doing all right. And
that's what they do. When you lose it up there, you grow it here.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, it's the only place I can style it. But that's no tattoo, just so you know. But Lee, let's talk, mate.
Yes.
We got 1,000 questions to ask you, and I think mostly because of our interview last week with Andy Cunningham, he opened the door with a lot of stories that you were involved in. Andy, let's go back to you. What are some of those stories that you mentioned last week that involved Lee?
Oh, nothing at all. Don't know what you're on about.
Typical bodybuilders talk shit when the person's not here.
He did talk.
You know that. Get Lee to go for it. He'll go for it. Anyway, name a bodybuilder and tell you a story. There you go. NASA.
If you start asking NASA.
Yeah, there you go.
NASA was a fun guy. I remember the 98 Olympia backstage, the one where they first drug tested and people weren't sure what they were testing for, and everyone come downstairs at the hotel before the prejudging, and then they heard that they weren't drug testing for certain drugs, so fucking Ronnie and them disappeared back to their room for an hour. I was put on some sort of fucking drip. But then we went over to the, where was that, what's that big place in New York, fucking...
Times Square.
Madison Square Garden.
Oh, Madison Square, yeah.
No, we didn't go down to the clock, Gretch. We went to the actual Madison Square Garden.
I don't fucking know where the story's going. Who knows where you ended up?
So we're backstage. We've got to do the piss test. So we all take our piss test, and we come back later on that night, and the piss test is still sitting on the exact same table where we left them with our names on it. So I said to NASA, let's just fucking pop diuretics in everyone's piss, and you and I will come up, 1 and 2 for the Mr. O. So what happens there? And I was about to walk into a room. I can't remember who it was with. Could have been Flex or someone like that. NASA grabs me by the neck and goes, "No, Lee, come over here. We go in the room away from the niggers."
Jeez. Full racist.
That's NASA the racist.
That's
not racist. That's not the N-word, is it?
All right, listen.
The N-word is nukin'.
Let's throw the big questions out first. Out of all the bodybuilders you've had to, and look, obviously this is going to be one of the most controversial episodes we've ever had because having you on here along with Andy is like, fuck, it's I don't know.
Double jeopardy.
It's going to be terrorism at its best. But who would be your most hated person in the industry in regards to bodybuilders you've competed with? I'm going to go the negative route straight away.
Who
do you despise?
Who I despise? No one really. I don't. Sometimes there might be someone like Flex back in the day. He had that fucking cocky attitude, so you wouldn't like him due to that type of thing. But as a competitor, he was great. Same with Sean Ray, great bodybuilder. When it comes to bodybuilding as a person, he's a fucking cunt. But, it's different people like that. It's like, most people are pretty cool, but I don't really despise them. As I said, it's more their attitudes. Like, you'd see them backstage and they're walking around there thinking their shit don't stink. I'll be backstage telling jokes and they're telling me to shut up because you got to be so serious. But I'm like, listen, if you're at a contest and you're in shape, fucking laughing backstage, you're not going to lose fucking muscle or lose condition. So lighten up a bit, you dickhead. So, a lot of them take it too serious in this day and age. I don't know. Phil can be a bit. I've never met Phil personally, but after seeing all the excuses on why he didn't win the Olympia, it looks like a bit of a dick at the moment. So,
Yeah, he's got to be quiet now. Yeah, I think he's probably learned his lesson. I don't know.
Well, fuck, he did an interview with everyone, so he had got no one less to interview with, and came online and told me to shut up, and I'm like, why should I shut up? You're online fucking bitch. And he's like, well, you didn't have nothing to say to me in 2010 when you dode his gym. I'm like, well, in 2010, I didn't fucking know you, and I didn't think you were fucking Mr. Olympia then, so why would I even fucking talk to you?
So you had a run-in. So was this run-in with him on Instagram, was it?
I think it was on Twitter or something like that. He put up at why he didn't win again. And I just put, oh, shut up, here we go again. Just because he was going on about all these excuses on why this, why that. I said, oh, shut up, here we go again. He's like, why don't you shut up? And I was like, oh, whatever. He's like, you never say nothing to my face when I saw your doties. I'm like, well, like I said, the last time I was at doties would have been when I went down to the show in 2010, because after that, when I got my life ban, I wasn't allowed to go to IFBB shows and that. But that's another story.
So do you still have that life ban?
I'm not sure. Probably, as far as competing goes, I think I do. But since the IFBB and that went Splitsville like that, I can sort of go to shows now. I could go back to the Olympia Expo. Oh, fucking lucky me. I could go to the 100 Classic Expos. And it's like I said, Tony used to call me all the time. When I competed in his shows when I was a teenager and stuff, and then I did his Australian Pro shows, I'd hear from him all the time. But when I got the life ban, I didn't hear from Tony for over 7 years or more. And then once they did this big split with the IFBB, the two different separate things now, would have been early this year, my phone rang and I saw Tony Doty's name pop up. I'm like, oh, look at that, Tony. Yeah. So he's like, how you going, Lee? I said, good. How are you? He's like, good. He goes, I just want you to know you're more than welcome to come to my shows. I said, well, why wasn't I welcome to come before? And he's like, well, Lee, you know how it is. I'm like, no, I don't know fucking how it is. If you're a friend of someone, you're a friend. Who gives a fuck about politics? Why can't I go to an expo? So, I don't get the whole politics bullshit, so.
I was telling Gretz the other day, Lee, because we were working out a few things to talk to you about. And I remember, this is going way back now to 93 when you went over to do the Niagara Falls Amateur. Mm-hmm. And I think, is it right, Jim Mannion saw you at Gold's Gym and got you your pro card. And that was the first sort of, didn't that cause drama for you back then? That was the start of it, with the Grahams, or because you were giving your pro card?
Not really, because they wouldn't give me my pro card because they originally said I was too young the years before. And then when I went over there and Jim saw me, he contacted Wayne D'Amelia, and I think then Wayne contacted the Grahams, and they said yes, but before then they wouldn't give it to me. It's the same as when I went over for that World Championships in Malaysia and placed fourth, and the following year I went to Russia and came up dirty on the drug test. Yeah. I wanted to know how, because I got still a lightweight. If I had taken drugs, I wouldn't have been a fucking lightweight the following year, because the year after that, when I first used DECA when I was 19, I put on 20 pounds in the first 6 weeks. So that's when I moved up to Brisbane. But yeah, when I had that second drug test when in Russia, had two done by the Australian Institute of Sport when we left Australia. They came up negative. We went over there, and on the Thursday we did the drug test. Friday they have that World Congress meeting, and that's when they're told, your athlete's been caught, you can't compete. I went on the next day, competed. Everyone's like, oh, Lee, you're going to win the show. Our judges are giving you first. I'm like, I'll wait till the night time until I find out. And I was getting ready to go back on for the nighttime award thing, and that's when they called me aside. Dr. Bob Goldman called me aside and said I come up positive on the drug test. So and I'm like, what for? And he gave some name. Can't remember what it was. So I went back to the hotel, got dressed, went back and watched the show. And I think it was Jose Guzman won that year. He was actually retiring from bodybuilding. And he ended up winning. And then that night, all the athletes come to my room and gave me tracksuits and watches and gifts because I know I got fucked over. And then when I came back to Australia, I wanted to get another drug test done because my mum rang up the Institute of Sport and said, well, how can it be positive if he was negative before he went? They're like, we don't know, we'll test him again. So she was going to pay, I think at the time, it was like $347 to do another drug test. And they asked, because I was with the IFBB, they needed the IFBB permission from the Grahams to do another drug test. And they said, no, don't test him again. So that was the end of that. And normally when you come up positive, they normally make you pay back the airfare, accommodation, but they never asked me to pay it back. So that was my first fucking from the IFBB at 19.
Did you
18.
What year was that?
That would have been 1990, I think Russia was.
Yeah.
Did you, so is this obviously as a pro, yeah? Back then when you were 19?
No, I was amateur because
so this is the
89 was the Malaysia where I got fourth in the lightweight. Went over there with Leon Sidoti and Gary Ross and the whole team, Andre and that. And Gary Ross was drunk as fuck, swinging from the flags in the streets of Malaysia, ripping banners down, and took off with one guy's fucking tricycle. And we came back late at night. He's like, can I go home now? Poor guy was waiting all day for his fucking bike to come back. But, yeah, no, that was 89. So Russia would have been 1990.
Yeah, right. Did you ever
Still as
compete?
an amateur.
How many times did you compete actually on Australian soil as an amateur before you turned pro?
Yeah. Well, I was with the WPF when I first started. So I started competing when I was 13. I won my first 3 bodybuilding shows at 13 years old. And then I placed third in the men's open at 14. 15, I won the state titles and that. Then the WPF Mr. Australia I won when I was 17. I went over to the university in Arizona that Carlos Rodriguez and Marlon Darton used to put on, the AAU, Mr. Universe, and placed second in that when I was 17. And then came back, and then I went to the IFBB from that point on.
All right, yeah, right. And you turned, so you obviously, you were, and still are, Australia's youngest person to ever turn pro, yeah? No one's beaten that record, are they? Have they?
No.
No, even with all the introduction of all the new categories.
Yeah, I just turned 20 when I got my pro card.
How did you attain your pro card? Did you compete in a pro?
Oh, weren't you fucking listening a second ago?
I was going to press. He never listens.
But how did
listens.
Steroids make it.
Oh.
I'm gonna.
No, I'm not even going to say it.
All right, I'm gonna be completely honest with you right now. I was checking every single little fucking recording thing on my computer while you were talking before. I actually wasn't listening. So we'll skip that question. You mentioned your first fuckings from the old IFBB. Are you happy to see the new turn that the pro league has taken with bodybuilding in Australia? Because
well, I think it can only be good, because anything that I wanted the Grahams out years ago. I remember that time Mo Masawi from New Zealand and what's her name, was it Rita from here, and that we all got together to get rid of the Grahams. We only needed like 39 signatures. I think we needed to get them to have a meeting where they could overthrow them, and we ended up with over 200 signatures, but no one told us we had to send those signatures to the World Congress meeting to get rid of him. And once he found out what we're doing, that's why they never let me into one of their shows again. So like I said, I always just got sick of hearing the athletes complaining about, we hate being this, we hate being that, but no one ever stood up and did anything about it. So if all the athletes stood together back then, they could have changed it long, long ago. So that yet everyone was just happy to bitch about it and bend over and take it up the arse from the Grahams year after year. And as Andy said on the last show, they've been running shows for how long now? Yes, if you put on a contest, you're going to maybe have a mishap with music and stuff like that, but their shows have been run like dog shit from day one. It's all over the place. No one knows when they're going on. Music's messed up. No one knows what division they're going on. They tell you you're going on at 7 at night. You won't get on to sometimes 10 o'clock at night. So the whole thing's just been run shit from day one, and people have let it happen. So.
Yeah, I remember you being very, very vocal a few times on social media, on Facebook pages, and I think a lot of the up-and-comers didn't really know where you stood at those times, because you just came across as this angry motherfucker who just hated everyone at that stage, and I don't think anyone really saw the truth behind it all, but you were pretty much just the only person that really just spoke their mind and didn't.
Well, it's the same with.
Back.
Remember when Lee Thompson left the IFBB and he started up that organisation that he wanted me to join and stuff, and when he came out, all the stuff that I'd said about the IFBB in America, he came out and validated it. And when he contacted me to come join his new organisation, I said no. I said, I recall you were the next man under Jim Mannion. I said, you were part of that hanging party that came for me and said everything that I was saying was bullshit, but now you've left the IFBB, now you're going to say all that shit that I said was true. So I just don't have time for two-faced people. It's like I said, if everyone just stood together, the sport could have been changed for the better years and years ago. Because when I used to do those interviews in muscular development, the athletes would come up to the expo and go, Lee, we agree with what you're saying. That's true what you're saying. I said, then why don't we stand together? They're like, oh, no, we'll get in trouble. I said, no, if I just do it, I get in trouble, I get suspended. But if you've got every athlete doing it, they can't suspend every athlete. Like backstage at the Mr. Olympia, we have that Mr. Olympia, like the contest competitors meeting 2 days before. If at that meeting we said, listen, we're not walking out on stage till we get this, this and this, they're not going to cancel the show. People have come from all over the world. They've got sponsors there. Hotels are booked out. They're not going to cancel the show. The athletes have the power if they all stood together, but sadly the egos and the athletes are just, the ego's bigger than anything else, so they just won't do it. They won't join together for the better of the sport. It's all about me, 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 me.
Yeah, but do you honestly think it was the egos, or do you think that there was nowhere else to go at that time? Because
you didn't have to go anywhere. You could have just all stood together and made the IFBB back then a better thing. Because like a lot of the interviews I did, I talked about judges sleeping with competitors, and Wayne DeMuy goes, Lee, I know it goes on. I'm like, well, you run the organisation, stop it happening. So, it's just about making things better in the own organisation that we're in. You didn't have to go anywhere because, like I said, if I get suspended, I can't go anywhere. But like I said, if the top 15, 16 of the Mr. O all stood together, they're not going to suspend that lineup because who's going to compete the following year in all the other pro shows? So.
Yeah, but so don't worry about on a professional level in Australia. Where would those competitors have gone? Do you know what I mean? Like there wasn't really any other federation.
Well, even the amateurs. You know, all the times I remember some of those meetings with the Grahams, they'd be like, if you go compete in NABBA, you'll be suspended. If we see any of our IFBB competitors at a NABBA contest supporting it, you'll be suspended. If I'm not sure of you, but I know some athletes that had companies back in the day who with the IFBB were told they couldn't go sponsor other shows like NABBA shows and stuff like that. So to me, it's like, why even all the amateur athletes, if they just said, fuck you, Grahams, you can't tell us what to do, we're going to stand together, the Grahams would have backed down because they want to make money from bodybuilding. If they have no bodybuilders, they can't fucking put on any shows, can they? If all the athletes stood together, amateur or professional.
Yeah. You haven't. I obviously gave you a special invitation to come and watch a Pro League show, and you were busy at the time. Do you have plans on actually coming to watch one of the shows? Maybe one of the amateur, the Arnold amateur shows in Australia, or the qualifier shows in Sydney or any other state?
I might. You know, depends if I'm busy or not.
Man of priority.
I go watch them overseas, but I figure to myself, why should I go support them when they didn't support me all those years I was suspended? I couldn't even go into an expo or into a contest to watch it. So why should I now come and say, oh, I'm going to come in here and support these people when no one had my back then?
Yeah, fair enough. What about the up and comers in Australia? So we've got a fair few pros now coming through the ranks. We'll talk about bodybuilding. We don't have to talk about any other category or division because I'm sure you're probably not really interested in it.
Because the others don't fucking matter.
Well.
Oh, that just upset him, didn't it? That would have said, fuck him, it doesn't matter.
No, I don't know. Look, I think everyone knows exactly the top
classic physique. I don't mind classic physique because to me, some of the classic physique guys, if they get a little bit bigger, that's what bodybuilding used to be, you know. Even the guys like Dillette back in the day, they had great symmetry, you know, muscle mass and stuff. And going back to some of the other guys, Flex Wheeler, he would have been classic back then, but just a lot bigger. So to me, having to make a class for classic just because the judges let the guts get out of control, that's the main reason they had to make up classic physique now, which to me, classic's what bodybuilding used to be. But as for all these board short classes and all the other things, to me, that's just like making classes for fucking retards, you know. It's like, oh, if you're not good enough to be a bodybuilder, here's a class for you. Or if you're not good enough to be in this one, well, here's a fucking class for you. It's like, you know, let's just cross the board with everyone. Well, on a promoter's standpoint, it's great. You get all these people in, you make lots of money from ticket sales and having everyone there. But, you know, back in the day, it was just bodybuilding. You had the pros. And back in the day when somebody was a pro, they didn't have to put fucking pro in the title of their name on Facebook or something. If you looked at them, you knew they were a fucking pro. These days, everyone's got a pro card, sadly. So it's like they're just giving them out too easy.
What we're talking about back in the day and the difference back in the day, let's talk about how the sport was back when you were competing as a pro and sponsorships and how athletes were treated by fans and promoters and that in comparison to now where it's very much all run by social media. What do you think? What do you think the biggest difference is at the moment?
I think back then people trained harder. There was no phones in the gym. I know people are going to say, oh, shut up, Lee, we train hard. No, you only think you fucking train hard. You don't really. I've seen most people training these days and they don't train hard. So as Andy could say, we used to bust our ass all the time. And some days Andy and I wouldn't even go on 50%. And people are like, oh, you train hard all the time. I said, we're not even training hard. We're just fucking around right now. So sadly, with social media, everyone's got to have their phone in the gym. Unless you're a heart surgeon on call or you're fucking working on an ambulance and you've got to have your phone on you, you don't need your fucking phone in the gym. It's like, I'll take mine in now to take a picture because I'm just fucking around. But if I was training serious, I never took my fucking phone into the gym. You don't fucking need it. But all these people got to have it with them and shit like that. And then, like I said, when it comes down to the training, it's just not the same anymore. If half the guys did what they do in the gym now back in the day, you would have been punched in the head and fucking thrown out the gym. You know, you wouldn't be in the gym for too long. It's just a load of fucking idiots now just looking at themselves in the mirror wearing their fucking string of tank tops getting ready for the next music festival. And sadly, you know, the girls are the same. They come in their tights and shit with their fucking Instagram just bending a certain way to show their ass or holding their fucking shaker right here. Here's my new fucking shaker before I train. And all you see is fucking fake tits. They're not really showing the fucking shaker at all. So, you know, it's just breeding a whole new race of fucking conceited men and slutty women, really. So.
Well, that's. I guess.
Hey, Lee,
go.
back, like, speak of those 90s. You were over there for most of the 90s, and you were around guys like Aaron Baker, Victor Richards, Chris Cormier, Flex Wheeler, all those boys. What was it like? Because you were there for that pretty much all those 90s in between Golds and Worlds, weren't you?
Yeah, it was good. Like, I started off at Golds, so that's where I first met like a lot of those guys. I remember I met my friend Kurt Miller the first day I was there, and I've known him for over 30-odd years now. But when I first met him, he just sort of went to introduce me once to Jim Quinn and Billy Smith were training. And they didn't have nothing to do with me. They wouldn't even fucking talk to me or say hello until about a week later I was pressing 180-pound dumbbells, and once I earned their respect, then I could talk to them type thing. And yeah, so like I said, back then all those people were there. You had Jim Quinn in there, you had Mike Quinn, Aaron Baker was there, Flex Wheeler, you had Chris Cormier, Rico, who was, a few different people. Always, like, there was probably always 10 to 12 pros in Golds at one time, and then on top of that you had all the other people, movie stars and stuff. But after like a year and a bit, I just got sick of the egos in there and the way people would walk around and shit. So I went down to World Gym and became really good friends with Joe Gold and that and Arnold and all the Eddie Giuliani and all that crowd from down World Gym. So I pretty much just stayed down there. It was nice and quiet, no music playing. You know, a couple of tourists would come in and drop the weights, and Joe Gold would be like, get the fuck out, and throw the money back at him and kick him out the gym. So I preferred it down there, listening to Joe and Arnold and all their old stories from back in the day.
Yeah. I was saying to Gretch the other day and Andy on our last episode how different it is over there now. Like, obviously, remember there used to be Powerhouse and World Gym, and then Main Street. You had all those. It was just littered with bodybuilding shops or clothing shops. It's just,
that's where you had
pretty much
down from the Firehouse. You had I think it was Hot Skins and then Body Alive, and down further from that, George Samir's cousin still has his big health food shop down there. And,
that's still there.
And then for a little while, Samir Banu had LA Urban Cowboy clothing store down there, and Crazy Wear was all along there. But now, and Max Muscle around the corner. But it's changed a lot now. Even people said Gold's Gym's changed a lot now. It's not like it used to be. So.
When's the last time you've been? When's the last time you've been to Gold's Gym, Venice Beach?
Probably back in 2000 odd.
Oh,
probably early 2000s. Because like I said, once I started going to World Gym, I pretty much just stayed there, and I think it was around 2004, whenever Joe Gold passed away. That's when I pretty much left California and moved out to Texas. Once he died, he left me his 2 dogs, and I moved out to Texas and stuff. Because once that happened, World Gym just wasn't the same. Once Joe Gold passed away, the people fighting over this and fighting over that and fighting over his money and land and shit. So I just left them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It shifted from up the road, didn't it, Lee? Tell them how it used to be the one with everyone knows with the stairwell on the outside.
Yeah, it was always on that stairwell one, and then it moved down to. Did you ever go down to where it's at Marina Del Rey? It was in an old Sizzler's building, and then Joe just lived across from that. It was in an old Sizzler building, and it was pretty good there. It had an outdoor area and stuff, and I'd always go down to Joe's warehouse there, and we would make all the equipment and stuff to try. So his equipment was probably some of the best I've ever trained on. Even that outdoor stuff that's been out there in the salty air all those years, still smoother than any equipment that I've used today, and he made it perfect with the pivot points and stuff like that. So the weight, you could feel the weight through the whole range of motion. So it was a pretty good gym. There's
an iconic video of you. It gets posted on social media all the time, and I know we've got it playing at World Gym here in Penrith on the screens. It just comes up every now and then. Of you taking your singlet off and you're flexing, obviously, in an outdoor area of the gym. It looks like Gold's Gym, Venice Beach, but I'm not sure where it is. Yeah, right.
That's World Gym, That was the one on Abbott Kenny and Main Street. That's outdoor deck area out there. And I think Artie Zeller was taking some photos in, and actually I think one of the covers from Muscle and Fitness came from that when I was just leaning on a bar and had my arms up on the bar, and became a cover of Muscle and Fitness. Artie Zeller was always there snapping off photos when I was training and stuff. I think that was about a week or two before the 98 Mr. Olympia.
How'd you go on that?
Depending what hairstyle. If I ever had the flat top, it was before the 98 Olympia. If it was a normal hairstyle, it could have been before an Iron Man show.
How did you go on that show? Because from that video, you look phenomenal in that video. Like
the 98 Olympia, I think I placed 7th or 8th, and one of the judges, actually I think it was Bev Francis, the Australian judge, told me the reason I didn't place well was because I needed to be harder. So I said, what do you want, fucking rigor mortis?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, right. How do you...
Because what'd you get... Yeah, because the year before you got 6th, didn't you? In 97? That was your first Olympia?
When 97 started off 5th, I was 5th.
Leverone.
Kevin Leverone was 6th, I was 5th, and Dillette was 4th. And we thought, that's pretty good. My first Mr. Olympia ever. I'm happy with 5th place. And we go backstage, and Kevin was there crying, Jim Mannion, fucking about something. So must have been about his placing, come to find out later. Then I went back to the hotel. My mum had come over and got changed. We're going to the Queen Mary where the banquet was, and I'm hopping on the bus, and someone was like, Lee, sorry about your placing. I'm like, why? I said, 5th to my Mr. Olympia, first Olympia, that's pretty good. They're like, oh, didn't you hear? You're being moved down to 6th place. Paul got moved to 5th, and they moved Kevin from 6th up to 4th once the show was over. So I remember Paul Dillette had Wayne DeMille up against the wall by the throat because he lost, I think, like 20 grand in the placings changing and stuff like that. So I still had the award for 5th place, but they just never gave me the prize money for 5th place.
Oh, wow. Do you still have those medals or anything that you got from the Olympia? Or you,
pretty much I sold them all just because I had them in storage. From when I moved back from America in 2008, had them in storage for over 10 years. I got rid of them 2 years ago, so they just kept coming with me in boxes. So I just put them on Instagram and figured if fans want to buy them, they can. And now fans purchased them, and they sent me photos. Fans have them hanging in their gym somewhere, or in their, like, they got to have like a pool room and have it hanging up there, or a trophy there. Because I figured, hey, if it brings someone motivation and helps inspire them to train hard, it's better them having it. And like I said, I just had them sitting in a box in a storage king place. So I'm like, oh, fuck it. So why even bother having them?
It's funny you say that, because if your motivation to sell them was to help motivate others and bring good use to them, you know what I mean? Like the amount of bullshit stories you hear behind that.
When I was selling them, I did read online that I must be doing bad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's where I was going with that. Yeah.
No, it's just like I said, just people want them. They always ask to have anything to sell. I said, well, I don't have any photos or T-shirts. And the last time I moved, I just got sick of moving the boxes. I undid a box. I'm like, fuck, I didn't know I had this many medals from the Arnold Plastic medals, Arnold Plastic jackets, because Tony Novak, that used to make the Arnold Plastic jackets, every year he would give me a jacket. So I'm like, well, fuck, I've got 8 jackets here. What am I going to do with them? I just fucking get rid of them. I sign them, give them to the fans and stuff like that. And same with the Olympia medals. I think I'm not going to hang them up everywhere. When I lived in America, I had them out, but I just got sick of dusting them all the time. So I figured, I've got the memories in my head. I can go on YouTube if I want to see it, but I'm not one of those people that needs shit sitting up all around the place to go, oh, look, this is what I done. Come into my trophy fucking room and look at all my accomplishments. I just never been like that. I think the only thing I really have, I still have a few racing trophies. That's about it. But as far as the bodybuilding went, didn't care.
Meanwhile, Gretchy's trophy room's right next to him.
Nah, I'd say that. There's nothing there.
He's like, oh shit.
I can see all the trophies on the wall right beside him. Fucking none.
I got enough, mate. Nah, they're all at my oldie's house. I leave them there now. I don't even.
Doesn't count when you buy them yourself.
Actually, I do have a box full.
Leftover ones from the fucking Grahams.
Yeah,
nah. Stuck nameplates on the front of them like they used to do.
Nah, I did get a couple from the Grahams with the wrong category.
I remember when I think the
There you go, mate. You can have that one. That's 100 kilo class. You've gone up a weight, mate. There you go.
that can't be Gretchen's. It says first place.
Hey, I've won my fair share of first place.
I think the last time I guest posed for the Graham, Andy was with me. Was that in 2010 or 2009 when we did those guest postings for the Graham?
Sunshine Coast?
Yeah, when 2009.
Paul wanted me to do a diet for his son, and he's saying that his son was retarded and lacked chromosomes and stuff. So could I do him a special diet? Remember, he's like, my boy's a few chromosomes short and blah blah blah. It's like,
that was at the back. That was at the Sunshine Coast.
And I remember handing out a trophy at the end, and it had no nameplate on. They're like, I just handed it to him, and the thing was fucking falling apart like it needed the bolt in the bottom tightened up. And they're like, just tell them we'll send them the plaque later to stick it on the front themselves. I'm like, how fucking embarrassing is this?
They used to collect the trophies from all the previous shows, wherever they had left, and they'd just peel the front off, and then they'd hand them out as if that was third place, and it wouldn't even have the thing on. Like, it'd be from the Australasia. And they'd hand it out at the Australia or the Queensland or something. Yeah, right. And pretend that the plate had fallen off. That's
why the contest, every class of trophies was always different. Now, pretty much a contest would have the same style of trophy all the way through. Theirs were fucking probably dating back to the 80 fucking Mr. Olympia, and they had fucking collections of this shit. I remember one guy handed one to one person, and the base fell off it on stage. It's just fucking embarrassing.
At least in our day they used to smash them as well. But remember that lead, that Christine from Canberra. Do you remember him? You know him?
Real
Christopher Dean.
No.
He's from Canberra, and on the stage, on the pose downs, the top three, there's me, him, and some guy from Sydney, Freddie Montefiore. Freddie ended up winning. I got third. Chris was second. But Chris backstage, I had a little heater on. Chris turned the heater off, and I was with my coach, an older guy, Jim. Jim turned it on and said, "Don't touch it, mate." And then he turned it off a second time. So Jim just pulled it out the wall. We're in another room and pumped up. So when we got on the stage, I'd already got my back up a bit. But this guy's a lot older than me. I was kicking off. He was finishing off, in terms of careers. But when we got on the stage, he gave us the biggest push. I went flying right across the stage. So I just give him a big wanker like that. And I point at him on stage. And everyone's booing me and all that for doing that. Then we're getting into it. And I give him a shove. I nearly had a punch up on the stage. And then they announced third place. He turned around and he clapped to me like that. He's laughing at me, I just copped it on the chin. Then they said second place, and it was him. Oh, mate, he went bananas. He smashed his trophy on the fucking stage. I was just...
But he got pissed. He got pissed because he got second to me when I won the WPF Mr. Australia overall in Queensland. He got second, and I won it. He got really pissed off then. So.
Yeah. That was the year before. Because I remember meeting you. You just won on Queensland. I just won in Sydney and was coming back. So a long time ago.
Lee, what's your training like these days? I know you're training out of World Gym Maitland, and I'm pretty sure you're still you're training shit, is it?
Yeah, I had that woman crashed into me back in 2015, and had C7 nerves crushed in my neck. So had one operation to try and fix it, but it didn't work. When I was down in Brazil, they sent me to a top neurosurgeon down there. Black Skull did, and they said it's still crushed. So they want to do another operation where they go in through the front of my neck. Or when I was at the Arnold Classic, I ran to some guys that do all that stem cell stuff, and they're talking about doing that. But at the moment, because the nerve's still crushed, I've lost a bit of size in my tricep here and a bit in the chest and a bit in the back area on this side. I still can't train 100%. That's been like 3 years now. But
yeah, so
that's my excuse for having a shit arm here. What's yours?
Mine's not a. I don't have any good sources on where to get my symptom.
I got a crushed nerve. What are you? What the fuck?
This motherfucker.
Dicky knee.
All right,
you're like Dicky knee, just a head on a fucking stick.
Let's start ripping into each other then. If that's where we're going, let me ask you the question. Now, it was obviously one time in that little brain of yours to get a great idea, to get a tattoo on your face, and I can see now just on the screen here that you're starting to get it removed a bit. So, are you getting it removed, or is it just is that a shiner on your face from pissing someone off?
No, that's getting removed. See, it's getting faded here.
Yeah. So,
what's it? That was in 06. 06 I got that, so it's 12 years ago. So those people that write to me now, "Oh, you got a tattoo on your face?" Yeah, thanks for keeping up, dickheads. It's 12, almost 13 years ago I got it. So, yeah, I just got it because, to me, it was like, I like those old movies back at Scarface and that. When I was younger, I was thinking I could go get a knife and cut my face, but that might be a bit drastic. And then I'd see those movies with the Maoris on that had face tattoos. And to me, it's another body part. It's like people say, fuck, I want to get a tattoo on my shoulder. I want to get one on my back. I'm like, I want one on my face. What's the difference? I don't have a job that is going to not let me have one on my face. So I figured if I want one there, put it there. So it seems like anything, where I get a tattoo or my height, it seems to bother people more than has never bothered me. When people say, oh, you're a short ass, 5'5", blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, my height's never once come into my mind of being a problem, or my tattoos, but yet for some reason, whatever I do, even my hairstyle affects other people. So I don't know why.
Trendsetter, Lee. Trendsetter. Worldwide, every kid's got them now. Look at the Gold Coast. Every kid has them through their head, their hair. I got a few fans over the world that have the exact same tattoos, and the only thing was when I got this one here on my eyelid, they can't really get rid of that one. To get rid of that one, they got to numb my eye, then put a metal contact in so the laser doesn't go through my eyelid. But I'll tell you a story. When I got this one, I went to this England tattoo shop. Yep,
the guy goes, I get a glass eye. The guy said to my friend Aaron, fuck, he goes, Lee's brave doing that on his eyelid. And I come back in, I said, what do you mean am I brave doing that? He goes, you could have went fucking blind. I said, well, thanks, mate. I said, it wasn't a matter of being brave. I said, before I got that, you didn't tell me I could have went fucking blind.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to get rid of this, but the thing is, people think I'm removing it because I don't want it anymore, I don't like it. The only problem is I'm just bored. Like all these ones here that used to be tribal and stuff, and then I've gone over them. This one I really can't go over unless I turn it into fucking Darth Vader or something, which don't give me ideas. So I'm thinking I'm just going to get it removed and then just get something new put on there. So I just got to get rid of it first before I can have a clean canvas to start again.
Yeah, right. And On social media, I wasn't sure whether or not I know you've got a new missus now. Did you just get married? Did you or?
Yes,
Yeah,
married.
Congratulations, mate. So,
Thank you.
where did that come about? Where'd you meet the lovely lady? And
where did we meet? We met on Plenty of Fish.
Oh, really?
Yes, not Facebook like you thought. Haha.
Hey, it's still on online.
It probably kind of was. The thing was, I'd been on, because I'd been single for a while, I'd been on Tinder and I never got any swipes. So I figured, this is not good for the fucking ego, is it? I don't get any fucking swipes on Tinder.
You're a scary looking motherfucker.
Yeah. I got friends that are ugly cunts, uglier than you, and they're getting swipes. I was just about to get off it, and she wrote to me. I got this message saying, "Why are you using Lee Priest's picture?" And I said, "That's because I'm Lee Priest." She's like, "No, you're not." I said, "I am." She goes, "Well, we'll have to meet for coffee one day." So I just sent back a photo going like that, and she's like, "Oh, you are too." So that's how we met.
Beautiful. Good to see you happy, mate. And all right, we had a bit of a segue before I was going to ask a question, and we got sidetracked. But up and coming pros in Australia. So we have a few now that have attained pro status, and I want to know your opinion on a few of them. And we'll leave Josh till the end because he's obviously our most successful pro. But I want to start with our newest pro, Justin Wessels, and what your thoughts are on Justin Wessels. And
Justin, as I said, Justin's been around a long time, and his conditioning is always fantastic, and you can't deny him there. And like I said, he's been, I don't know how long, Andy might know how long he's probably been competing for, 20 years or more, Justin, or?
He's about the same age as you, so both of you is about 6 years younger than me. I've been doing it 36, so about 30 years, but he took a break for 12 years. I had 17 years. You haven't even had a break, Lee. Like, I don't know how you keep doing it, man. So.
I'm an idiot. No, but the field is like, I said it looks great, like I said, but I'm not sure when he goes to the pros in America. I'm not sure what class he's going to do, whether he's going to do classic or the bodybuilding or 212 or anything. But the thing that is, like I said, that's not taking nothing away from anyone else in Australia or anyone like that. But you go on social media and you see all these guys talking about when they go to a contest, and do this, they're going to blow this person away and blow that person away, and all these young kids that are full of fucking gear and stuff like that. Taking every drug under the sun, stupid amounts. And then you have someone like Justin Wessels that can come along that's been around forever and wipe the floor with everyone. Then I think to myself, has bodybuilding really fucking moved ahead in Australia at all? If someone can come in that condition who's been around that long and beat all these up-and-coming younger guys, it doesn't say much for the sport of bodybuilding, really, does it, in Australia?
I think it's
that's not taking nothing away from Justin, because Justin looked fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
When you think of bodybuilding, you think of, I know back in my day, or even back in, I said we were competing, Flex Wheeler was young, Chris Cormier was young. You had all these young up-and-coming guys that were massive and freaky and had great symmetry. But we just, for some reason, we're not seeing that anymore at the younger age and that. So it's like I said, Justin come in fantastic. He deserved to win. I'm not saying he shouldn't have won it, but you'd think, okay, he might have placed won his division and stuff, but to win it overall, you'd at least think there might have been a 26-year-old out there, massive and freaky and shit, that would have come in and taken it to get his pro card. So, but you just don't see that happening anymore. Even in America, sometimes now you don't see many guys turning pro at a younger age. We've had a few like Dallas and a few like them beforehand, but now everyone's over in their 30s, mid-30s, getting the pro card.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to someone else now, and we'll say Nathan James Williamson. So, Nathan, I think he was probably, correct me if I'm wrong, Gally, but he's a guy before Justin to get his most recently get his pro card.
I think he was, yeah.
Because every other one else is been from another country. We had the Korean guy, and so we'll talk about Nathan James Williamson. What are your thoughts on him and his physique?
I've only ever seen photos of him. He seems to have like nice, pleasing shape and stuff, but I thought it seemed that for a while it seemed to take him a while to get a pro card. I heard there was different reasons behind it, politics and etc. Things that went on behind the scenes that I won't bring up right now. But but he's finally got his pro card. But to me, it's like, okay, they got a pro card, but what are they going to do with it? Sadly, it's like you can get a pro card, but are you going to go compete as a pro? And if you do compete as a pro, are you going to actually do damage in the pro ranks, or are you just going to be get up on stage and say, look, I competed in the Arnold Classic, but, didn't place or get anywhere. So it's like you look at any things. You have in Australia, you have a lot of guys who are great if they compete in regional shows, and that might be the best they can do. Then you have a lot of other guys who, when they compete, they might be great at state level shows, and that's as best as you're going to get. Then you have the other guys who are good at the nationals. They might win the nationals, or place in the nationals, but that's it. Then you get the ones that get their pro card. Okay, you got your pro card, but are you going to be a competitive pro? Because I remember when I went to America, I was still shocked when I stood on stage for the first time on the Niagara Falls Pro Show. I was too busy looking down the line thinking, oh, fuck, there's David Durf, there's such and such from the magazines. I'm standing there too busy looking at who I'm standing on stage with. It's almost like they came to life out of the magazine. So it's one of those things. Here in Australia, we see him here in Australia, think, wow, he looks fantastic. And then you look online, he's going to do damage in the 212. He's going to do damage in this class. It's like the only damage he'll do is if he hits his fucking knee walking on the stage, because when you see those guys in person, you've been over, it's a total different ball game. And, I'm not saying don't get behind and rally behind them, but sometimes in bodybuilding, it's one of those sports, you've got to be in touch with reality. And a lot of times people aren't. Like I said, we can look at ourselves in the mirror here, and in Australia, you can go to your gym and your mates are going to be like, fuck, you look fantastic. And you probably do. But when you get over there and get on stage, here's fucking reality, hits you up the side of the head, and you're like, wow, well, I wasn't that good after all.
I had that reality check when I competed against Ahmed Ashkanani, and I saw him backstage lining up, and I was right next to the motherfucker, and I just went, yeah, okay. It's a different ball game overseas.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't want people to say I'm negative against Australian bodybuilders. I think one time Josh took it that way. I'm not. I'm just being realistic. I said I'd love to see great guys come from Australia. Like Josh at the moment, he's actually pushing it to the Americans, so that's great to see. I'd like to see more, but like I said, we do have guys who turn pro here who look fantastic here. But then once they get there, there's a whole nother level, and people think you've got to be in America to get big, and you don't. It's all about mindset half the time, and you can train anywhere in the world. You've got weights. If you've got weights anywhere, you can train. It's the same drugs here. They've got the same drugs over there. It's not that. It's just all about mindset, and it seemed to be back in a few years back when I was training, there was just more of that get in and fucking do it, bust your ass and stuff like that. Now it's more like, yeah, people train hard, but then it's social media and this and that. They got their mind elsewhere, and it's back down. It's just fucking go train and just train hard, eat, sleep, rest. There was no partying. There was no drinking. There was no nothing. It's just train, sleep, and eat. That was it.
We've said that a lot.
Do you think too though? Like back in the 90s, obviously the contracts were. I hear they were quite. I mean, I don't know for sure. You could probably shed some light on it, but there was good money back in the 90s. Do you think that's why a lot of?
Some was okay. My very first contract when I signed with Weeder was only $2,000 a month, so I wouldn't say it was that great to begin with.
What was your best contract you were with? Twin Labs or?
Twin Lab when I was with Twin Lab Pro Lab. Pro Lab was actually a bit more than Twin Lab, and then at the same time I was with MD, and just for writing for MD magazine and doing those 2 columns every month, I'd get $6,000 a month just for doing that on top of the other contracts and stuff. So, when you can just get a good contract and you can just train, eat and sleep, it does make it a bit easier. But a lot of guys are still doing that now. They got the lifestyle to do that. Some people have a job which makes it harder, but then I've seen a lot of guys who have jobs still excel. So it just comes down to, if you've got a job, time management, how bad do you want it? And then there's a lot of guys who have these contracts do get, I remember Flex Wheeler, best genetics in the world, but some of those shows he won, he didn't look his best because he knew, if I can come into a show and only look 80% and win it, why should I bust my ass coming in 100%? So a lot of guys that have the best genetics can be the laziest guys, and the guys who have to work that bit harder will bust their ass.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously saw Flex in the gym a lot in those good 90s. Was he really half-assing a lot of the time? Or?
No, he'd train hard, but he wouldn't, like I said, he wouldn't be expecting like you'd see if Andy and I trained, would push hard and go for more reps. He'd sort of get to the point where he just stops, and then he would stop. And then I'm not sure if Andy was with me one time. He was on the treadmill. It's like, he's almost walking backwards. He's going that slow. It's just like, it's like. But he even said once, if he wasn't getting paid to do it, he wouldn't do it. So you can tell there's a difference between people that love to do it. They're not doing it for the money, because really bodybuilding, unless you're one of the top guys winning the Olympia and stuff like that, you're not really in it for the money. That's for sure. You're in it because you love training and it's in your blood, and you'll train no matter what you're doing, whether you've got a job, whether you're a contracted athlete, whatever. You just enjoy going to the gym.
Call me out. He trained good. Call me out. Chris, call me out. He trained good.
Chris trained hard. Dillette, I said I sort of trained Dillette a few times. He'd always be hard. He'd go heavy now and then, but he'd go heavy, but it was always like a comfortable heavy. When you can do a certain weight, like if you're going to go do squats and you make squat 4 plates where, okay, it's heavy still, but you can push them out easy, compared to, hey, let's go to 6, try 6.5, where you really got to bust your ass. You never really see them get to that point where they're busting their ass. It'd be like that comfortable type, heavy type thing.
Yeah.
So you keep mentioning...
Who was some of the hardest trainers then in the 90s? Yeah. That you actually trained with?
I didn't really train with many. The hardest I probably trained with was Tom Platts, when him and I trained together. Yeah, but Tom was retired at the time. But Tom was one of those guys that would just go fucking nuts. He'd just keep going and going and going. And like I said, he'd get down to partial reps, quarter. Like if he was doing laterals, he'd be here, and get lower and lower. He'd get to the point where his arm was by his side and he's still just doing these little jerky movements on everything. I remember one time we're doing legs and I think he was squatting 5 plates aside for 20 reps, and then he'd make me stop halfway down to do those just static holds and come back up, and leg extensions I go to failure, and then he'd lift them up and I have to hold it there, and then he'd start pushing down on it as hard as he could. I have to resist him and that, and then he'd do the hack squat machine the same, do as many hacks as I could to come up halfway, hold it, and he would hang off the machine and try and pull it down and stuff. And at the end of the workouts, I'd always just start dancing. He's like, fuck me. He goes, I wouldn't be able to walk out of the gym. But when I got home, I was fucking good at walking. A couple of times I woke up in the middle of the night where I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I think the nervous system was shutting down on me. So I had great workouts. I always say to Tom, too, why don't you get back into it? Tom goes, no, I couldn't. He goes, when I get into the gym, he goes, this switch flicks on. He goes, I go fucking crazy. He goes, I couldn't do it again. So he's probably one of the hardest when it came to. Tom just got that mentality about him where he just goes in. And probably the other guy, like Jim Quinn, if you remember Jim Quinn, he'd train super hard with Billy Smith, the guy from the Gladiators and stuff. But Cormier would go hard. But a lot of the pros, you didn't really see him going super. Like you see videos now of Branch and them doing crazy stuff, and even Ronnie back in the day. But back in girls, you wouldn't really say there was super many. There's actually more people that weren't pro bodybuilders who were probably training hard than them. Like I remember even back before us, you had the Barbarian brothers back in the day curling 150-pound dumbbells and pressing 5 plates behind the neck and shit like that, where you don't really see it these days.
Yeah. You mentioned...
What's your take on all the people talking these days about conditioning compared to the 90s? And I guess it's something you had to be. I mean, I saw a couple of the shows in probably the late 90s. I mean, yourself, Kevin when he was on, Chris. Those guys were at Dorian. They were in absolute extreme conditioning. What do you think the difference is between now and then?
I think a lot of laziness with drugs. You know, a lot of people rely too much on drugs. Back then, I'd do 2 to 3 hours of cardio a day plus training twice a day and stuff like that. Because I didn't want to cut back on my food too much, I just did more cardio, so I stayed fuller and stuff. But now it just seems like guys are taking too much gear and they're relying too much on insulin and shit to fucking, fill out on. I said, we go to a contest back then at the athletes meeting, everyone was all sunken in, he's like, fuck, he's going to be in shape. You can just tell by looking at his face. The guy that had the sunken in face and looked shit in clothes, once he took the clothes off, you're like, oh, fucking hell, where'd that come from? And now, look at the Mr. Olympia press conference the day before the show. They're all fucking like this. It's like, as I said, the thing was too, we'd do shows back to back. We'd do the Ironman one week, the Arnold Classic the next week, the San Francisco. And the longer you stayed in shape, the better you got. These days now, these guys are taking so much gear and different cycles that after that one show, a day or two later, they look like fucking shit. It's like the body just fucking goes into meltdown. They can't hold that conditioning for week after week after week because they're playing these fucking chemical games. And I heard Andy mention it once before that, it's all an illusion on stage. These guys want to be a certain body weight. It's like when I won my first pro show, Cormier was second. I think Dexter was third. And I only weighed 199 pounds. Chris Cormier, who got second, he weighed 260. So it was like, but people said, Lee, what'd you weigh? I said, what do you think I weighed? They're like, 235, 240. I said, no, it's 199. But yet the illusion from stage, like you've been to shows before, you see guys in the bantamweight classes on stage, you're like, fuck, he looks incredible. Then he walks past you in the audience, you're like, was that the same guy that was up on stage then? I remember, do you ever remember when Serge Bray came to Australia, Andy? I'm not sure whether you saw him. He had this like one-piece jumpsuit on, Serge Bray, and you're like, yeah, he looks okay, but you can tell he's got a nice physique under there. But then when he walked down on stage into the spotlight, you're like, the guy looked like he just fucking put 200 pounds of extra muscle on. It's just like, wow, like where the shit did that come from? So it's all an illusion.
How do you think you would have placed now in the 212 category? Because you'd quite easily fit in that category if you were competing back, or if they had that category back in the day. But
it's hard to say because if I was at my best,
we're talking at your best, yeah.
Yeah, at my best, I probably would give Flex a run, and I would, depending on the judges too, if they still liked me or hated me at the time. But I'd probably be in the top 3 somewhere at some of the shows for sure, because when I look back even to the Universe that I won in 2013, the guy that placed second to me in my weight class at the Universe, my height class at the Universe, he went on and won a couple of 212 classes in the IFBB pros and placed in second or third at some of the IFBB 212. So I'm thinking, well, if he won a couple and got second at some, I'm sure I could have had a crack at it.
Yeah.
What do you think your best overall package was then, Lee? What year or what show?
It's hard to say. I've never been one to judge myself on that. Some people say the 97 one, some say the 99 Olympia and that, but I never worried about it myself. Even when I come time to do the contest, people are like, how do you hope to do? It's like, I've always been a realist. I always knew I was never going to win the Mr. Olympia. So to me back then, getting in the top 10, if you got the top 10, that qualified you for next year's Olympia. So if you didn't want to compete next year, you could take the year off and just do the Olympia. So I always just set my mind on hopefully getting 10th place. So anything over 10th place to me was a bonus.
But that just made me think, what happened with the 2003 Olympia? Because I was there. I flew over to see John Davey. That he qualified for that Olympia. And the rumour I heard, so I said it straight, was you didn't want to compete. Was that right?
Yeah, that's why. Can you believe how shit I looked and I still beat John? Fucking unbelievable.
I just remember your hair.
Exactly. The mullet and the fucking smooth legs.
And the tan.
Fuck.
Yeah. So what happened? What happened in the lead up to that?
Well, the thing was, leading up to that show, I didn't really want to do it because that's coming around the time where, to do the Olympia, you compete throughout the year, and to compete in the Olympia, you had to place top 3 at the pro shows or top 5 in the Arnold Classics. So then you qualify for the Olympia. But then come the Olympia time, they send out the contract. You must attend the VIP banquet the night before where you can stand around and watch people eat. You must do the Battle for Olympia video. You must do the behind-the-scenes Olympia video. And you got to sign this contract. They can use your name, image, and likeness for anything they like. So you got to sign this big fucking contract, which was like 17 pages to compete. And I said, I'm not going to fucking sign that. I don't want to sign it anymore because I've qualified to do this. Why you got to make me do that? And the athletes aren't getting the dollar back for it. I'd understand if the sales of those videos went back to the athletes' health fund or something like that. So I said to Gunther, why are you signing that? It's a shit contract. He goes, yeah, I know, but I want to compete in the Olympia. I'm like, well, this is where the fucking problem starts. None of you guys will fucking stand up. So I just got to the point where I didn't want to do it. But I said, okay, I'll do it. So I signed the contract. And I'll be dieting strict for 2 weeks, and the third week I'll be like, fuck it, go to McDonald's for a week. And then, because if you know what it's like, if you're going to do a show, you've got to be 100% or don't even fucking bother trying. So this back and forth went on. So I went online and said, look, sorry, fans, I'm not going to do the show. My mind's not in it. So I'm going to pull out, but I'll be at the expo, so come see me there. Oh, the abuse came in. How the fuck can you do this to us? We've got tickets to see you compete. We're coming to see you compete. You got to compete. So I'm like, no, fuck, okay, I'll compete. So I competed and didn't look the best. Next day online, how the fuck could you go on stage looking like that, letting us down? Yeah. What the fuck? I couldn't fucking win. So I was like, so I ended up doing the show to please the fans, and they still bitched about it. So that was the reason why. Just my mind wasn't. I just didn't really want to do it at all. I'll
make sure I tag John Davey in this video too when we upload it or podcast or whatever we end up with.
Remember talking about pros getting pro cars and going over there and doing nothing with them.
But John, hey, he did do the Olympia. Poor John. He did do the Olympia. Hey, I'll speak on behalf of John. I know exactly why he didn't continue on, and he saw everything that was happening backstage, and he just said, I remember him telling me once, it's just not the life he wanted to live. He didn't want to have to do or go down the road that all those other bodybuilders. Like he was sharing a room with Ronnie Coleman apparently before he
did one more though. He did the 2006. Remember the pro show on the Goldie?
Oh, yeah, one in Australia. Yeah. What do you think about...
I did that one. I did that show.
Did you?
He was second to Ronnie that year, Lee.
Yeah, Ronnie Raquel won, didn't he? Yeah.
And that's when Ben Fardo was outside in his slippers wandering around the hotel.
Oh, so was that a legit story? I'd heard that. But
Ben Fardo,
he went a bit he went a bit cuckoo.
He stayed with me for a month prior to that. I had the gym back then, Mick.
Yeah.
And Tony, he said to me, I've got this guy coming in from overseas. He doesn't want to stay in Melbourne with all the other competitors. He's a bit strange. And he said, you've got the gym up there. Is it all right if you usher him off up there? So I said, yeah, sure. Who is it? And he told me. And I was being like a bit of a fan of him because of his aesthetic look. I liked him in Paris back in the day. Even though me and Lee, we went crazy for mass. But for shape-wise, them two guys back in the early days were good. But he stayed with me for 4 weeks prior to that show, but he was, he's strange, but he's all right.
What do you
watch this podcast? So I'm not going to say no more.
I don't think you will.
Hey, but really,
I don't think you'll be watching this.
What bodybuilder isn't fucking strange? Come on, if this is what you do for a living, you got to be a fucking kook.
What do you think, Lee? What do you think of Sean Roden winning the Olympia? Obviously, they went for a much different look.
I thought it was. Yeah, it was good mix up there because the Olympia can just get so boring because it's almost like we know who's going to win it and stuff like that. To me, it's like, okay, Phil might have been upset thinking he was better, but, Sean, I don't think was at his best either. But like I said, Sean at 98% beat Phil at 94%. I watched some interviews with Phil where Phil reckons he was on. It's the best he's ever looked, but really it wasn't. No. If Phil had been his best, he would have won. But to me now it just makes the Olympia exciting for next year because now it's open. Maybe Sean can win it again, or maybe somebody else can come in and win it. So it actually makes the Olympia an exciting show to watch next year. It's not going to be a foregone set conclusion of, okay, he's going to win it and who's second, who's third type thing. So it actually makes it a bit interesting now.
Do you think Phil has what it takes to come back and win it again, though?
Well, I heard someone was saying that he was going to take next year off and then maybe come back the following year. So it'll be interesting to see. Then you hear rumours that maybe Kai's in the talks of maybe coming out and doing something like that. So, it's hard to say what's going to happen. So, it's always one of those things. There's going to be talk leading up to the Olympia again, and everyone's going to be making predictions, and everyone's going to be putting up photos before the shows and stuff. Ruli might come in and surprise. Olympia's one of those shows where it's good to see people put up photos, or any show really. They post photos a couple of weeks out where they look great, but then come the day to show, they look like fucking shit. So really, you can't judge until the day to show. So we're not sure. Like I said, it's still a while away. There could be some contenders we think of who are going to do well, who might get injured throughout the year. So until the show actually comes around, who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
What about that Dexter, Mark? What do you think of him? How's he doing all these years, mate? He's from Lee's era. He's still doing it every year.
Yeah, Dexter's not coming up with piss poor excuses of why he can't train because of a sore neck.
Dexter, well, I do have a sore neck. Look at my arm here. No try. Look, I might call this the Gretchy arm. No fucking try.
Give me 2 secs, Gretch. I was going to get charger. Keep going.
Yeah, you're right, mate. Keep going there.
Yeah, but no, like I said, he's got longevity. The thing with Dexter is he adds a little bit of size here and there, but as long as you're consistent and you play it safe, to me, Dexter doesn't seem like one of those guys that's abused the gear year after year after year. He knows what he can do. He knows where he's good. And like I said, if you can be consistent like that and keep going, because like I said, he was around competing when I competed. But like I said, he still looks good, still looks healthy. He looks great on stage. So if you can stay like that and keep doing that, I say all the more power to him. Because like I said, he's seen, like me, a lot of people come and go.
Do you think at his age, he's just basically competing now to rake in as much prize money as he possibly can before he retires?
Probably, but also too, you got to think to compete and go through what you got to go through. You got to somewhat love it a bit. You wouldn't fucking put yourself through that type of shit year after year after year just for the money.
Good point. Yeah.
So he's got to have to love it a bit somewhere. And maybe it's like a challenge too, because I know if my arm wasn't screwed up at the moment and stuff, I'd probably still be competing because it's one of those things. I love it because I remember. I think even back in the early 20s, I had that Deadpool going where they said I was going to be dead. I think I was like, my name was Crocodile Done something. But every time I bulked up, they're like, he's going to be dead now, he's going to be dead. And I think half those shit talkers, I know there's about 4 of them that talk shit about me going to die because I bulked up. They've died themselves. So I always found it would be good to stick around long enough just to piss off all the people that said I was going to die.
Yeah. We'll move on to another one of the Aussie pros, and we'll get your opinion on them. And the reason why I do this is because I know they're going to love hearing feedback from you. Do you know what I mean? So,
no, they're going to hate me and go, that fucking cunt. What the fuck does he know? He's washed up cunt. He doesn't fucking do this.
Well, we're going to talk about Aaron Pilates next because I hope you don't rip him to shreds too much because I know he will be listening to this 100%, and he is in the middle of the prep, so he might be a little bit sensitive.
He did look good in the pictures he posted.
He did look good. He did look really good.
I took a picture to Jim the other day. I look fucking good in that too, but I wouldn't get up on stage fucking looking like.
Let's talk about.
Here we go. Here's a fucking picture of me on fucking stage right now. Oh, fucking hell.
No. You'll encourage Gretch to show his bicep. Don't do that.
I don't have enough.
I shouldn't. That's not fair to Aaron here. I'll just show my forearm and that's like his leg.
I'd show my arm, but I don't have enough room on the screen.
No, we saw you in the tank. We saw you in the tank.
Yeah, that was a.
Didn't happen. Wasn't recording.
For any viewers that didn't know
it wasn't recording.
I was going to ask Andy. I was going to say, fuck, you didn't tell me Gretchen was going through chemo before we fucking come. Poor cunt. No wonder the hair's going. Fucking, what do you got? Leukemia or what? I'll start a fucking GoFundMe page for you.
Hey, fuck, I'll hop on board with that. Don't worry. But I knew I should have worn a hat for this too. Yeah, but let's talk about Aaron. What are your thoughts on Aaron? Aaron's obviously prepping for his first pro show now. I'm not sure which one he's doing. Gally would know.
Well, I haven't seen any recent photos. I'm not on Facebook because every time I was on Facebook, I'd always get a 30-day suspension. So I just shut my account down. I only go on Instagram now. So when I saw pictures back before, it would have been probably, I think last time I saw him was when you last compete, like 2 years ago, was it? Or was it last year? I remember seeing he looked good then. Like I said, his shape's nice and stuff like that. But then again, like I said, it's always hard to tell when you're on stage against Australian people until you stand on stage against, someone like the Jose Raymonds and Flex Lewis's or, people like that, even Dave Henry still looks great. Until you get on stage beside them people, it's really hard to say. I wish anyone all the best of luck to go over there and do it and compete in the show and hope they really do well. But like I said, it's always hard to say how someone's going to do till they actually get on stage and get up there. Because like I said, seeing photos now, he's great, but I just hope people, if he's looking great now, the only thing I can tell people is like people like him and that, they always think that these American pros are doing something different, which some are. They use insulin a lot and they carb up on a shit like that. But all my photo shoots are always done a week or two before a contest. I never changed anything. All I did was slowly take my water out that last week, put tan on and pump up. I never did carb loading, sodium loading, did nothing. Because like I said, we see these great pictures of guys a week or two out in the gym. They've got veins everywhere. They're fucking full. Look fantastic. But for some reason, that last week, they think, okay, this is the last week leading up to the show now. I've got to start depleting this and doing this or taking this. And it's like you fuck your whole body up. Your body's so used to eating a certain way, training a certain way. If you try and change that in the last 7 days, generally it's hit and miss. And most of the time people fuck up. So I always tell people, if you look great a couple of weeks out and you're feeling full and vascular, don't go fucking doing all this hocus pocus fucking crazy shit thinking you're going to get better that last week.
Where do you think all that hocus pocus came from? Because a lot of the pros and a lot of the best bodybuilders in this country and all over over the world always testify to the fact that they don't really ever change anything on the last week of prep. Where do you think it all came from? Do you know what I mean?
I think back now you'd hear a lot of carb loading stuff, and then people go into this water loading, or then it would be sodium loading. But I remember when I used to count carbs, or do we call it macros now? I'm not sure what the latest term is, but I never went any lower than 250 grams a day. I know guys would go down to 50 grams or less than that, but my lowest I'd go would be 250. Then I just went by the mirror how I felt. If I went and trained hard, I got a great pump and I had heaps of energy, I might lower my carbs the next day or then increase them. But like I said, I was always ready 2 weeks out. That way I could just play around with a bit of food, add a bit more food, take a bit of food out to see how you look. But like I said, guys now are trying to overdo this carb loading, or they're loading up too much of insulin and just cramming the food in. And like I said, sure, you get on stage, you're vascular, you're full, but your fucking gut's out here. Back when I was competing, I'd go on stage full and vascular, but if I had a tiny waist, a week later, after the show, I'd be eating. 7 days after the show, I'm still full and vascular, but now my gut's out here. And sadly, that's how these guys are going on stage. They're just going in like they're fucking just eating too much before the fucking day of the show.
We'll move on. We'll move on to Big Josh. So he's the last one that I'm going to mention. Now, there was a bit of talk back and forth a while back now about who is Australia's best ever pro, all-time pro, and I'm not sure whether or not you and Josh had words back and forth, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have been heated in any way at all. But there's I can see both sides of the argument of why people would consider Josh to be the best ever pro and why people will consider you to be the best ever pro.
Well, there is family members. Of course, they're going to say that about him.
What?
Like my mum's going to say I'm the best.
What makes you think that you're the best ever pro to come out of Australia? And then I want to get your opinion on Josh and how far do you think he can actually go?
Well, it's hard to say. I don't say I'm the best. Other people can say that, but you can go down to the amount of shows we've done. He's still regularly, still sort of new to it. So we don't know how far his career is going to go yet. So until his career, it'd have to be one of those things. Once Josh has finally finished doing what he's doing and won what he's won or did what he's did, then you could say who was the best. Once you've had his career over and done with. But while he's still going, it's hard to say. Because like I said, I did all mine, but then people are going to say, well, look at the people Josh has competed with, look at the people Lee competed with, the Kevins, the Flexers, the Dorians and stuff like that. So it's almost like two different eras. It's almost like saying who was the best Mr. Olympia. To me, if you're Mr. Olympia, you're great. It's all a different era. Everyone was good at their time. When I was competing from those 90s to the mid-2000s, that was my time. I was good then. Now Josh is in a different time. So to say who was the best, you can't really say because we had a different era, different time, competing against different people and stuff like that. But all said and done, I was the best.
How do you think? We'll get rid of that argument and we'll talk about actually how Josh in his career. How far do you think he can go? Because there aren't many up and comers. I think. Yeah, then there aren't many up and comers. I think that can actually put a dent in the sport as much as what Josh can.
I think that as far as you can get, it's just going to come down to him and his mental power. Like I said, people always talk about drugs in the sport being the thing, but in bodybuilding, you all know, the thing that's going to get you to the top and make you the best is going to be your heart and your mind. If you don't have that mental willpower, you can take all the drugs in the fucking world, even the genetic side of it, you're not going to get anywhere. So it's just going to come down to him. And like I said, he's done well in his last couple of shows. He took, was it last year off, and he seems like you said he's put a bit of size on. So until he diets down again, we're not going to know. As long as, like I said, his waist stays pretty small, he should do okay. Like I said, it's just one of those things. Don't play the size game. You know, he's got plenty of size. Conditioning is going to be the main factor they're going to be looking for these days a bit of the time now. So you don't want to go in. Like I said, I always said that about Kai Green even. You know, there's a couple of shows Kai Green did where he played the size game where, you know, face it, Kai's got so much muscle mass on his frame. If he come in shredded like Dorian used to do or Ronnie did in his first Olympia, Kai would have won Olympia easy by now. So it's one of those things, just don't get caught up in this, I weigh this much, I weigh that much. There's so many guys back in the day that would, remember, all they had was a heavyweight class, then they brought in the super heavyweight, and all these guys like, I'm a super heavyweight because they wanted to be a super heavyweight, but yet if they had gone into heavyweight class, they would have looked a lot bigger than going in that little bit smoother in the super heavyweight. So, you know, I wish Josh all the best. Like I said, he's really the only Australian out there at the moment who can make an impact on the pro scene as far as the bodybuilding goes. You know, that's bodybuilding. I don't follow the women's. I don't follow figure, bikini. Like I said, the board short class, whatever that is now, physique is it, or whatever it is. So I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure on who's doing good in that, whatever. So I don't know. But if you decide to do that, Gretch, I wish you luck. I got some nice Billabong shorts you can borrow.
I might give it a crack now. Just shut your fucking mouth.
Because this side, I've figured out what I'm doing next year. I'm doing the bodybuilding because this side's still good, and this side I'm doing physique. So I just have to turn side on. So
Hey,
I can take out 2 classes.
like you said, it's all an illusion on stage. So you just got to pick your poses, I guess. You'll do well.
Exactly.
You'll do well. What do you think about possibly coming back for maybe a guest posing or anything? Is it all really going to depend on the injuries and making sure you...
It depends on the injury. Like, people even ask me if I get the injury fixed will I compete again. It's one of those things that, like, if I got the injury fixed and a little bit of atrophy, where the muscle atrophy away came back, and if I dieted down and looked in that condition I did at the universe, but a bit fuller, I probably would. But then I don't want to be one of those guys where everyone's like, fuck yeah, Lee's coming back. He's going to get an invite. He's going to do this. He comes to 212. I walk out on stage. I was like, yeah, here's Lee. Oh, fucking hell, what did you do that for? So you got to know when to stop. So if I didn't look as good as I used to, I wouldn't dare walk out on stage. Yes, I might do a guest posing, or I might do some photo shoots, but I wouldn't compete just to get on stage and go, here I am, and then go, oh shit, you shouldn't have done that.
What did you think of Kevin's comeback?
I thought it was good, but when we can look at Kevin, we're going to compare him to the old days and his legs and stuff. And I've always said, Kevin doing that and Flex Wheeler, to me, if some of the old guys like, say, Kevin, Flex Wheeler, if I came back and got in shape myself, Sean Ray and stuff, instead of competing, just set up where you travel around and do some seminars and guest posings, because Kevin coming back looking like that, if he had to go on stage and guest pose, everyone would have went fucking nuts. Flex Wheeler, people would have went nuts. But when you're going on stage standing against the best in the world and you've been gone that long and coming back, as good as he looked, you're going to keep comparing to how he used to look. But yet he looked fantastic. But, against them, people are like, oh, well, his legs and this and that. But if he had just guest posed, people would have gone fucking ape shit. So
we said the same thing.
People, like I said, people don't understand and know, but then like I said, but with the internet trolls these days, everyone's going to back. People who have never even been on stage or never competed once in their life, they're going to sit there and bag people. I see people sometimes now bagging Ronnie Coleman because of his injuries and stuff and the operations. So like, the guy was 8-time Mr. Olympia. Shut the fuck up. You haven't even stepped on stage or dieted down for one contest. You're going to bag these champions. And I never understood that in bodybuilding, where you get these people that follow the sport for some reason, but all they do is put shit on the sport. It's like, fuck, I hate golf. I hate other sports, but I don't go on fucking golfing forums telling them they all suck and they this and that and whatever. It's like, haven't got time, but yet why do these people decide to go online and just bag every bodybuilder when they've done nothing themselves is just beyond me. I don't get that mentality.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Ronnie, it was good that they had the Dubai fitness show over the weekend, and Ronnie was there. So it was he was there. Obviously, he can walk a bit now, and he looked pretty healthy. So that was good to see.
Yeah, because last time I saw him would have been at the Olympia, or did I see him in Brazil? And that would have been the Olympia in September. I saw him there, and he was still having a bit of problems standing there. But like I said, he still stood up for a trooper. He'd sit on a seat for a while, but then he'd stand up for the fans and that. So like I said, Ronnie's one of those hardcore guys. People can say shit about him. They're saying he shouldn't be competing now. He's done this and done that. But, Ronnie's one of those guys. It's in his blood. He loves it. So who are we to tell him what to do? So it's like I said, if you love doing it, maybe, like I said, it just gives him something to do. If you stop doing it, maybe that's worse for him. It'd be like some of those guys that are alcoholics. You know, when they keep drinking all the time, they're better off. When they stop drinking, then they get fucking problems. So Ronnie's probably just better off training constantly.
Yeah.
He's an animal. Sorry, Mark. He's an animal. He trains at 1:30 in the morning when he's in Brisbane. Because he likes to stay on Alton, Texas tab on the time and regularly trains over there. He never fucking sleeps. He sleeps in the car in between traveling around. But I've never in my life taken a pre-workout at 12:30 midnight before, other than to train with that bastard. It's crazy.
I heard that from a few people when they had him around places. They'd be like, oh, fuck, we've got to go and take Ronnie to the gym at 1 a.m. or they'll be out eating a fucking meal at 3 a.m. after the workout because he stays on his Texas time.
Yeah. And then he watches fucking The Simpsons at your house. He sat there laughing. I said, hey, watching Big Ron. Oh, that Homer is a funny guy. 50-year-old guy.
You used to train really early in the mornings, didn't you, back in the day? Gally, Gally, turn your sound down. I can hear everyone's echoing since you took your headphones out. You trained it because I remember your old DVDs that you used to rock up in the Hummer at whatever gym you were training at the time, and it used to still be pitch black when you rocked up there. So what made you start doing that?
5 o'clock. I just found that I just prefer training in the morning, especially. It's one of those things. I just figure if you get up and train, and training's out the way, no matter what else happens throughout the day, your training is done. It's like, you leave it till later on in the day, you can get tired, you can get held up somewhere, and by the come 5 o'clock, you're like, fuck it, I don't feel like going to the gym. Or if you do, you take a pre-workout, then you can't sleep, or you might be going through the day and have a shit phone call from someone, so that throws you off. So if you can train first thing in the morning, once your workout's done, then it doesn't matter what happens throughout the rest of the day. At least you're like, well, my workout's done, so I feel good. So
back when
I said, if you keep putting it.
Back when you were training at your very best, and no, injuries aside, and nothing holding you back, did your training sessions go for a long period of time, or were you basically at 5 a.m.?
About 2 hours.
Yeah, right.
About 1.5 to 2 hours. Always the same. Always did high volume on all body parts and stuff like that. So always about 2 hours.
Yeah. Do you think that's what a lot of the people these days aren't doing right? Like you see people training in the gym, and you make comments that people aren't training hard. Do you think it is a lack of volume training?
Now, a lot of them are. I remember when it came up with like different types of hit styles, which aren't bad every now and then. But you look back to the old guys, Bird Fox, Arnold, Sergio Oliva. All these guys sometimes train twice a day, 2 hours each time. So if you're getting enough food in, you're getting your rest in, you're not going to overtrain, and your body can take a fair bit of punishment. But these days, everyone started coming up with that, or any more than 45 minutes, you're overtraining. You can't train any more than 45 minutes. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. I said, show me any other sport in the world, golf, tennis, boxing. Show me where the fucking number one champion only trains 45 minutes a fucking day. Like, everyone wants to be a champion, but they don't want to put the fucking hard work and time in anymore. They want to they'd spend more time on Facebook than they do in the fucking gym.
That's your same mentality with cardio too, isn't it? You're a firm believer that you need to put in the cardio in order to get lean?
Yeah, I probably did a bit more than I had to, but I always do 2 to 3 hours a day just because I didn't like cutting my food back, so I'd rather eat more food and just do extra cardio. So
yeah,
I just, like I said, and plus, I got time to do it. Why not? That's why, some bodybuilders get lazy. You'd see them like, oh, can't do this. Like, if all you do is train, eat, and sleep, you've got time to fucking do 2-hour sessions a day of cardio if you wanted to. And like I said, I'd always laughed at. I wish they would sometimes change like the way bodybuilding is now with some of the pro shows, that pros should be made to do at least 2 or 3 shows a year. I think the most I did one year was 11 shows in 1 year, but generally I'd always do 4 to 5 shows a year. And to me, it's like you got to get out there more. These guys that just do 1 show a year, that's just bullshit. You're getting paid to eat, sleep, and train. You do 1 show a year, and you can't even get in shape for 1 show. You're just being a fucking lazy cunt. And then when they go to expos, they stand around like, oh, I hate doing this. It's like a couple of weekends out of a year, you got to get off your ass and go meet some fans and hang out, that sort of thing. And they complain about doing that. So the whole mentality these days is just, like I said, just totally different to what it used to be.
Yeah. What drives you nuts more than anything when you see people trying to make it in the sport these days? And obviously you mentioned social media, training on the phones. What else is there that drives you nuts? That you just
I think just when I read like on forums or when I used to go on, and to be said, like I said, back in my day, it was the training, the eating, the getting the rest in, and then it's like about how much food you could shove in. It's like back there when I started, yes, I knew drugs were in the sport, but drugs weren't even on my fucking radar. It's like all I wanted to do was fucking train and get big, and I got big from fucking eating all the time. When I was like 135 kilos, I wasn't on any gear at that time. All I did was fucking eat. Mike Matarazzo used to call me the tick. He's like, you're going to fucking explode. You're that fucking big and stuff like that. So, but now it's just like I said, every forum they talk about drugs, someone's like, oh, I'm thinking of taking this. What should be my first combo? And then you get these people, you click on their profiles, and they're giving people information about what cycles they should take, and they're fucking built like this. I'm like, what the fuck? Who's going to believe it? I did seminars not long ago when I was in England. We were talking about taking testosterone and stuff, and generally I'd take like 400 milligrams a week. The most I went up to once, I don't know if you remember a guy called Trevor Smith back in the day, massive guy. He was into heavy training. He said, Lee, you should go up a bit more and take 800. So I took 800 a week for a couple of weeks. I felt like shit. My strength went down, so I went back to 400. Felt great. But I'm in England and I'm talking to young kids there at a seminar. Some of them are taking 5,000 milligrams a week of testosterone. I'm like, what the fuck? Where you get it from? He goes, oh, well, you pros lie about it. I said, look, I'm not lying. I said, if I took 10,000, I'd tell you, I don't give a fuck, you know. Andy's known what I've taken over the years. I've always been a fucking use small amounts. And so when I tell them this, they're like, oh, we don't believe you. You're not telling us the truth. I said, but you don't believe me, but you're going to believe some dickhead on the fucking internet who's done nothing, who's just probably selling you the fucking gear and making a fortune. If you're taking 5,000 milligrams a week, this guy's cleaning up. So I think the whole drug thing, you know, where it's like, back as I said, in my day, you just all about the hard training and shit. Yes, when it came time for contest, you'd think, okay, I've got to take a bit of gear, help keep the muscle on and cutting my food back a bit. So, you know, stuff like that, you'd use it. But I never relied on it. You know, I'd train with guys and I'd be like, let's go heavy. They're like, I can't go heavy. I'm like, why not? I'm not on anything. I'm like, but if you fucking think that way, if you've got that mentality, you're never going to go anywhere. It's not meant to be a thing that you rely on. It's just a thing that you take if you need it later on to get ready for contest, if that's the way you're going to go. But so many guys just take gear now, haven't even been in the gym for fucking 1 week and they're on the gear and shit like that, or they're taking the gear before they even get a gym membership. And to me, it's like, it pisses me off for people who are like, I want to be a pro bodybuilder, I want to be this and that. It's like, I always tell people, if you train right, eat right, you get the rest in and you got the genetics and you go to the gym and train hard, you'll build a physique. You'll know that you're meant to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to go say, I'm going to be a pro, I'm going to do this. If you have all the genetics and you're training correctly and stuff, your body will fucking grow. You'll know that this sport's for you. But it seems like every dickhead that goes into the gym and takes a bit of gear, I'm going to be a pro bodybuilder. It's like, you know, I've got mates that play golf. I've got mates that play tennis, but they do it for fun. On the weekend, they go and have a fucking hit at a tennis racket. During the week, they might go down to the local tennis court, but they don't come up to me and say, oh, fuck, Lee, next year I'm taking on fucking Andy Murray. I'm going to go take on fucking Djokovic and shit like this. It's like, they don't think they're going to be a pro tennis player, but every guy that goes in the gym thinks they're going to be a fucking pro bodybuilder or can get big overnight by using steroids. So it's just crazy. The whole way the mentality's gone to drugs.
I've known people to actually take time off training while they're off the gear. Because they think,
that's what I mean. Like I said,
they've got no motivation.
I'll take the piss out of Mick. Leave him alone. He's a good guy.
I don't even know if Mick's listening. Like, he's confused as to how his computer works. He's the oldest one here. He doesn't know what's going on.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like, to me, it's like nearly all my strongest lifts, Andy could be the same, but a lot of my strongest lifts was when I was off the gear. It wasn't when I was on the gear at all. The people get this mentality, they think they've got to take gear to get strong or build muscle. It's just stupid. And like you said, taking time off. I was trying to work out the other day. Like I said, I've been training now since I was 12 and I'm 40, coming on 47. I mean, if I add up every day, like I was in hospital for 5 days sick. If I travelled the other day from here to England, there's a day gone. So in all those years I've been training, if I add up every day from sickness or just a day off from travelling or just didn't feel like going to the gym, it'd probably total 6 to 8 months total of days in all those 30-odd years I've been training. So it's just one of those things. People just take time off. Like I said, they're just fucking lazy. Like I said, the whole excuse they can't go heavy because they're not on gear. Like I said, if you've got that mentality, if you think you can't do it without the gear, you won't fucking do it. As simple as that.
Do you?
That's why the base, Mark. That's why the base. People like Lee at his age, me, I was the same age as him when I did that comeback with Mick, and then Mick, he's been around a long time too. He's done more shows than all of us, but that's because we don't use large amounts of gear, mate. We're still able to do it and still get, response at that age when you should really be just,
and have time off.
Yeah, I was 17 years off. I still training, but I had 17 years off.
How much time has Rich taken off? Fuck me, dead.
Mate, I'm as nutty as they come. Mick will testify that. Nick, I think your microphone's down, mate. Nick, I think your microphone's down.
Hey, Gretch, we saw you in that tank top. There's some things you don't need to tell us. It's just fucking obvious.
If everyone really wants to know, I had to put a shirt on because everyone was so intimidated and didn't want to be on the same. I hope this video works anyway because it's not gonna.
because it's on video, you can stick your arm up, and Lee and me and Mick will stick ours up. There you go.
We'll have a bicep. Let's have it. All right, go, Mick. Give me yours.
Okay.
Come on, Mick. Come on, Mick.
Where's Mick?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There's not much there.
Come
Go,
on,
Luke. Go,
come
Luke.
on, come on, Mick. Mick, did he do it? Did he do it? Hold up. I gotta come in.
I reckon I've got yours all covered. I've got yours all covered.
Hang on.
Oh, maybe not. Look, I reckon. Yeah, look. Lee.
There we go.
There you go.
Fuck! I got a cramp.
Yeah, that hurt. That hurt, didn't it? Yeah, that
Work
hurt.
careful, take it easy.
He's gonna have another week off the gym now.
Hold on. I'll be fair now here, just so you and Mick and that don't feel too bad. I'll fix my arm.
You want big dollars?
Oh, that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair, was it? Hold on, to make it just so you don't feel too bad. Hey, can you come flex your arm for the boys?
You're asking your missus, are you?
Yeah. I would have asked my mum, but my mum might have showed you.
Yeah, she would have shown us all up. Hey, do you keep in touch with any of the boys that used to compete at like that golden era type?
Only when I'm at expos. Like I bumped into Kevin, Chris. I spoke to Dillette probably a year ago, but no, only if I'm at expos and stuff like that. I don't really. I keep in contact with Samir a bit through Instagram. He writes me messages and stuff because I was just with him not earlier on in the year in England. But no, generally a lot of the other guys I never really. Because when I was doing the bodybuilding, I didn't really hang out with bodybuilders. All I wanted to talk about was fucking drugs and training and shit, which bored the shit out of me. So when I was in America, I got to the car racing, so I pretty much hang out with people that weren't even into the gym really. So. Yeah. And you talk about, you've spoken about the drugs and how people use drugs these days in comparison to the way they used them back in the day. What was the quality like and the quality difference? I don't know. I just go ask somebody, say I need a bottle of Decker, they give me a bottle of Decker. I don't know the fucking quality on it. I'm not fucking quality control. I just look at it and go,
I know you're not quality control, but you know that there's a lot more shit going around these days than there were back in the day.
Yeah, but even back then, like I said, I get mine from a guy in California, and I don't know where he got it from, if he got it from Mexico or if he got it from overseas. So you pretty much just got to trust in going to someone that you know other people are going to, and just the main thing was like, have you got an infection? Have you got this? I'm like, okay, I'll give it a go. So, it could have been Decker 200, but really is it Decker 120 or Decker 140? And I know, someone asked me the other day saying like Palumbo has some drug testing kit out now that you can buy to test stuff to see if it's legit or not. So maybe if you're going to be getting stuff, that might be something to invest in, because like I said, you don't know the strength of stuff you get these days. Or I remember one time I came back to Australia, I had some liquid Dianabol I tried before a contest. I wasn't sure how much to take. I might have taken too much in an eyedropper, and I was training and had nosebleeds. So at the 2006 pro stage, I had stuff up my nose to stop the blood coming out, because the day before I had to go to the hospital and get my nose cauterized because it was bleeding too much.
Nah, but yeah. That's pretty fucking...
I was losing my pump.
Mick, have you got any questions from back in the day?
I think you answered the ones that I had. I'd say about a million questions up.
Yeah, I know, but we've just rambled on about other shit. We won't hold you up too much.
Well, no, you're right. Ask some questions, whatever you want, and you might know some that would jog your memories or...
Go on.
Because I know Lee, more than anyone. I'll throw some things and Lee can go on about them. What about all the Hollywood actors and the directors that you used to know from the gym, Lee, when you lived in America? There?
Yeah, as I said, that was good. Back in then, you had like James Caan would come into the gym, and it was pretty cool because James Caan was a big fan of the Sydney Swans, and where the Firehouse restaurant is, and you got that little street there, and then you got the Rose Cafe on the corner. There's that stop sign. When I had my Hummer one day, I was stopped there, and James Caan was walking past. He's like, "Oh, Lee!" And he puts his head in the window and he starts talking about the Sydney Swans. I don't follow it, so I'm just acting like I know what he's talking about. The next thing, the car behind us is beep, 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 beep. James Caan turns around. He's like, "Go the fuck around, you fucking asshole!" Then this guy drives alongside, looks over and goes, "Oh fuck, I got told off by James Caan," and he fucking drives off. And then Van Damme used to come into the gym a bit. He wanted me to train him, but then the week after I got his number and stuff, he went into rehab. Keanu Reeves was always a bit strange. He come into the gym when he's getting ready for Johnny Mnemonic and would run on the treadmill with that suitcase handcuffed to his wrist like in the movie. And
literally run with a suitcase handcuffed to his...
Yeah, getting into the role.
Yeah, right.
Then you had Dennis Hopper. He was always a cool actor. He'd come into the gym one day and I was training, doing barbell curls, and I hear psst, psst. I'm like, who the fuck's that? I turn around, he's like, would they recognise me today? I said, who? He goes, the paparazzi. I'm like, why? I turn around, he's got this fucking big black hat on down to here, these big fucking, like, block of reflecting glasses, black pants, and a big black shirt with white letters that says actor. He goes, would they fucking recognise me today? He was pretty cool. Jeff Goldblum was cool. There's a lot of guys that went into the gym. The only real arsehole at the time used to be Carl Weathers. He was a bit of a dickhead, the black guy from Rocky. He always sort of pushed people off machines and stuff. But down at World Gym, you'd have a lot of the older time to go in there. Eastwood went in there once, and then you had that Rutger Hauer. He would go in there. But they're all pretty cool. Like I said,
what about the director?
Which is Joel Schumacher, yeah. I met him when I went for the part as Bane in Batman. Because one of my friends had a bit of a role in the movie, so I was doing Bane in that first one with Mr. Freeze in it. And I just missed out. It came down to me and Jeep. Remember Jeep Swenson used to be in the Strongman, and that he got the part because the only reason he got it over me, Joel Schumacher said, was because he had to act beside Uma Thurman, who was like 6 foot, so he got the role. But to make up for it, Joel Schumacher took me down to where they were shooting Lois and Clark, the TV show, and they had all these fucking Superman suits hanging up. I was going to try steal one, but I didn't get away with it. But yeah, it's like I said, pretty good fun. Like I said back in the day, and I said, if you saw the actors back then too, they were all down to earth. Frank Stallone, I used to eat with him a fair bit, and sort of thing, because he used to like my Hummer, so he'd drive my Hummer down to the fucking firehouse and stuff. And I was at one of the Arnold Classics once and had a good conversation with Stallone because he used to like reading my articles in the Flex magazines. But they're all, like I said, normally when you get to know them, they're nice people. I know a lot of people used to say Arnold was arrogant, but when you get to know Arnold, he'd always joke around in the gym and stuff like that. He'd always pick on me and Roland Kickinger. He'd be saying to Roland, why is it always the short guy who wants to train with the tall guy and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but why is the short guy always fucking stronger than the fucking tall guy? He'd be like, oh, very funny. Another time I was doing leg extensions, and he was doing them right beside me, getting ready for a contest. And he's like, do you think you've done enough? And I just looked at his legs and said, oh, no, I think I got a bit more. And then another day I was doing some stuff, and him and Eddie Giuliani, people don't know Eddie Giuliani, he's been around since the day. He's the one that jumps in Arnold's arms in pumping iron and that sort of thing. And I was training one day, and they just stand there watching me, and I just said, okay, I give up. Why are you giving up? I just said, well, why should I fucking bother? I said, here I am busting my ass, I'm killing myself, and in the long run, I'm just going to turn out and look like you two old fucks in the end, so what's the point?
They would have loved that.
So, like, but they had a good sense of humour. And in the mornings, if you went to that World Gym on Abbott Kenny, there used to be that big thing Joe Gold made for him downstairs in the car park. It's like a big marble slab with his name in it. It used to look like a tombstone, so some mornings we'd put flowers on it, and that would piss him off more than anything because it looked like he'd fucking died and stuff. And we'd always laugh because some people would park there, and he'd park his Hummer right behind him, and they'd be like, Arnold, I got to go to work. Arnold's like, you parked in my spot. So he'd make him wait an hour and a half before he fucking left. So he'd just block him in.
Yeah, right.
Who's the wrestler with the Krispy Kremes? Who was the wrestler who had all the Krispy Kremes and goals? Was it Hulk Hogan or one of them was your mate?
I can't remember. I know Macho Man Savage come into the gym one day and he fucking cried because he got his finger caught in the Smith machine and fucking chopped the top of his finger off.
Bullshit. The Macho Man.
Fucking crying because he lost the top of his finger. Fucking
Yeah,
cut it off
right.
in the Smith.
Did you get many roles in movies or TV shows? Or
I
anything
just won Best Supporting Actor in the short film I did in Australia. No, over there I did. My first one I did was the Hulk, really, because I was getting ready for a contest, and they said I was doing a photo shoot, and they said on the way home there's an audition for the Hulk. That's the one with Eric Banner in it, the Australian actor. He was top at Universal. I'm like, I never get picked for this shit because the majority of the time when you go to a thing in America when they say they want a bodybuilder, they really mean they want more like a physique guy because you turn up as a bodybuilder like you're too big, this, that. So I figured with the Hulk, they can't say you're too big. So I went up there, did what I had to do, and as I was leaving, they called me back into this room and goes, the stunt director wants to talk to you. So I went in there and did some more stuff, and then about a week later, they said, you got the part. So they flew me up to George Lucas's studio up in San Francisco, and walking into his office is incredible. You walk in and there's like this massive glass case, and it's got the Millennium Falcon in it. You got Darth Vader standing there, stormtroopers everywhere. Pretty much all the movies George Lucas has done. It's like this big fucking showroom of stuff. And then they took me out to this big warehouse out the back where it had like probably 15 cameras every direction. So pretty much wherever the Hulk did in the movie, the running, the jumping, he was swinging a tank around in the movie. I was swinging around a sandbag on a piece of rope, and where he's fighting those big dogs, I was just slamming sandbags together. And then about a year after that, I did the same sort of thing for the Hulk video game. But I did in Australia. I've done that Dumb Criminals movie with the people from Housos.
Oh yeah.
I play a bike in that. Then I did Rescue Special Ops, that Australian TV show. I played a drug dealer in the gym doing that one. And I did a video clip with Paulie from Housos not long ago, the Fong song. That was last year. I just did that short film, and now I've got to go read for another film next Saturday for another big movie. But it's like I don't seek it out. If something comes along and they ask me to do something, I'll do it type thing. It's just like anything if I find enjoyable, I go do it. It's like when I got into the racing, I used to watch racing on TV, but then when I got into it, I enjoyed it and won a lot of races. And then 2006, I won the championship racing. So yeah, I find that anything in life, if you enjoy doing it and have fun doing it, you're going to excel at it. So
yeah, what are you doing for a job these days? Are you training people at all, or is it just basically you're acting and you're touring that you?
Finally,
I'm just still sponsorship deals still. So
yeah,
I haven't had a normal job since I was 18 still. So all those people that thought they could get rid of me by suspending me all this time and stuff, and I'm still here making more money than some of the guys competing.
So Black Skull is still one of your sponsors, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else have you got?
Swole O'Clock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Viking Clothing. My other friend has a company over there in England, his as well, but I can't really mention that because Black Skull got upset when I mentioned the other supplement company. But it's like I told Black Skull, I've been with Black Skull since they began in 4 years ago. They contacted me and said, "We want you to be the face of Black Skull." And my first reaction was, I'm getting a bit old and get someone younger, and hung up on them. Then they call me back and go, "No, we want you to be the face." So I signed on. It was only a year contract at the time, so when my contract ran out, they just kept paying me year after year. And not long ago, I was just promoting my friend's brand. They said I can't do that. I said, well, really I can, because you haven't re-signed me for the last 3 years, so I'm really a free agent. So now they're talking about doing up a contract just so I don't hold up any other products.
Well, that's fair enough. If you're sponsored and they're paying you, I can completely understand where they're coming from.
But I'm not sponsored. The contract ran out 3 years ago.
No, but I'm saying, yeah. If they are going to, they want to get you on a contract, that's for sure. Obviously, it doesn't compare to the amount of what you were getting paid back in the day, but it's just still paying your way.
No, see, I've never really, I'm comfortable. Like I said, back in the day, I was probably, for a while, getting 18,000 or more a month. And then when all the suspensions came down and the IFBB told MD and that to get rid of me, I went down to probably a little bit over 3,000 a month. But even back then, when I was living in America, I was getting the 3,000 a month just from my contract. I was still able to pay the rent, food on the table. So like I said, it's not about the money. As long as I can train and got food on the table and a roof over my head, I've always been happy. So I've never been business-minded in that sense. That people are like, Lee, you could have made so much more money doing this, doing that. I'm like, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Why be stressed out doing shit I don't like just for making money? So
once all these contracts and sponsorships fizzle away, would you plan on maybe getting your tits done so you can hold a shaker like this and start trying to become as Insta-famous as you possibly can?
Probably. I figure, if you can look that shitty and make money, there's fucking hope for me. What happens if you can't be a bodybuilder? You promote shows. So Lee Priest Classic coming up.
I think I had the biggest arms in those flex offs that we just had.
I can go back and say, John, I'll go call up John and say, John, I don't have any contracts anymore. I'm sorry I beat you in 2003. You look really good. Can I open up a world gym and put on a contest? I hear this is what all the old retired bodybuilders do now, open up a gym and fucking put on contests.
Well, I'm opening up a gym in about 4 months, so I should be quiet about that.
You breaks the stereotype.
Oh, fucking hell. All right, look, just to finish off, I want to ask you honest opinion on, well, not your opinion, but basically your advice on what you would give an up-and-comer in the sport, who's new to the sport in Australia specifically. What advice would you give them if they did want to make it big one day? They had aspirations to one day become a pro and possibly get on the Olympia stage. What would be the first piece of advice you would give them in regards to anything, basically?
Just be real with yourself, really, because you can say you want to be a pro, but then you have to be realistic and say, have I got genetics to be a pro? Like I said, I'm sure there's young kids out there who love training, love going to the gym, who take all the gear and say, look, I want to be a pro, but it's never going to happen. So you need to be realistic, because I hate seeing young kids who, I've seen guys give up jobs, give up good paying jobs, going to college, who like their 5th year going to be a doctor, and give it up because they said they're going to be a pro bodybuilder. 15, 20 years later, they're still taking drugs on fucking welfare or selling drugs to make money to have this dream. So So sadly, the dream doesn't happen for everyone. But, you know, if you love training, go and train. It's like I said, if you're going to be a pro and you have the genetics and you're doing everything right, it will happen. You'll become a pro. And then once you go that way, it's mainly just, like I said, being patient, being realistic. Because, like I said, building muscle doesn't happen overnight. It takes years and years and years. So these guys that come along and think they can just take drugs and get on the pro stage and blow everyone away, it's like, you know, people always had that dream. I'm sure you can relate to that, Gretchen, that having this dream of becoming a great pro and it just doesn't fucking happen. It's like, you know.
I'm happy sticking around being an amateur.
I'm going to say, have you come to the realistic now? That's not going to happen. So.
100%. I'm a realist. I'm not a lie. I'm not going to lie. I'm a realist, and
that's how you got to be. Like that's how. And when you say that, sometimes people are like, "Oh, you're being negative." Like I said, look, if anyone's got the genetics out there to do it and they can do it, I say fucking go for it. But like I said, when it comes to stuff like drugs and that, don't go fucking crazy reading on the internet or thinking all these guys take more and more and more, because you don't need many drugs. And if you do start getting into that side of stuff, have a couple of close friends that you can trust when you get ready for a contest who are there to train with you. And as for some of these fucking gurus online and shit, we have Hani Rimjob, the fucking pro creator. And I'm like, what fucking pro has he created? Everyone that he's got has already been an established fucking pro. Has he taken anyone from amateur status right through? And he got mad at me once because he wanted to help me out in 2000. And I showed him my training. I showed him my diet. He's like, that's good. He wrote me out this fucking drug program, which was like 9 different fucking drugs. And I only ever take like 3 at a time getting ready for a show. I'm like, fuck, look at this. Mike, your blonde was staying with me at the time. And I'm like, I ain't taking this. And he'd come around and go, how's it going? I'm like, going great, mate, going great. I'm doing what you're saying. He thought I was. I fucking wasn't taking any of it. And I did an interview once and someone goes, did you work with Hani? I said, not really. Hani just gave me some advice. And they go, what did he tell you? I said, nothing. He gave me a whole shitload of drugs to take. Hani calls up, you can't go saying that. I said, well, is it true? He's like, yeah. I said, well, why can't I fucking say it? I said, you didn't change my diet. You didn't change my fucking training. All you did was tell me to take all these drugs. And I remember when Dillette lived with me, Dillette was working with Chad Nichols at the time. And I said to Paul, I said, you've been training all these years. Nobody knows your body better than you. Why do you need Chad Nichols to tell you what to do or help you? He goes, Lee, I'm just lazy. He goes, if Chad writes out, take this, take that, or eat this, eat that, he goes, it just makes it easier. I don't have to think about it. And, you know, as big as Paul was, people talk about he takes all his gear. Paul was like me. Well, I'll put something in a syringe and put it on the table. It'll be there 4 days later. I got friends that, I've got to have my shot today. It's got to be today. I've got to have it today. It's fast acting. It'll be out of my system. They get so fucking hung up on taking the gear. I said, we'd have shots sitting there for days and not take them. And the most he ever took a growth hormone at a time was 8 IUs. I saw him take it every day. I think the most he took at one time, I think there was 12 or 16 in one of his pins. He's like, oh, fuck it, I can't be bothered breaking it up. It's my last shot. I'll just have that. But every other day he just took 8 IUs. But people say, oh, these guys take 20 IUs and take this. And I used to read articles where it says pro bodybuilders spend $50,000 on cycles. I'm like, okay, I know bodybuilders are dumb, but back then I think when I won the Ironman, I won 10. I'm thinking, who the fuck's going to spend $50,000 and then win $10,000 back? You'd have to be a fucking idiot. I know when I got ready for, I think it was the Ironman, the Arnold, and then the San Francisco, I think my drug bill was $1,800. That was tops. And like I said, it's just like, I know young kids that probably spend that in a fucking week. I don't know where they get their money from to spend all this money on drugs. But as far as, like I said, when it comes back to young kids that are up and coming in, I said, just have fun, really. Go to the gym, have fun, train. Like I said, if you're doing everything right, you've got the genetics and you can turn pro, it will happen. But just don't go crazy thinking you need more drugs, because that isn't the answer. And have some good friends who can be there and be realistic with you. Don't go online just because you put up a picture and everyone's like, looking great, mate, looking great, you're going to kill it. You know, all these fucking ass kissers come along and start telling you this bullshit and you're getting all these likes that you think you're going to be great. So you just need to have people to keep you down to earth a bit and stuff like that. And, you know, I said, just never change. You can just be yourself, People, like I said, I've been myself over the years. People either like me or hate me, but I don't care. Sun still comes up and it goes down the same night every night. So what people think of me doesn't bother me. Well, I always find, like I said before, the thing that I find funny is all these people that hate me follow me online and take the time to fucking comment. Some write fucking essays that I haven't even got time to fucking read on why they hate me. So I think those people, if ever run out of sponsorship, should pay me, because without me, these cunts wouldn't have a life. So they should fucking pay me for giving them one.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Oh, well, that's some pretty good advice. I remember back, I can't remember what year it was. It was you were at the opening of the World Gym Bankstown gym. Do you remember being there for the opening for that? Yeah.
With Luke Wood and that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Was Luke at that one, or was Luke at Blacktown?
No, Penrith.
Luke was at one of them with me. Was that Penrith? Was it?
No, you were at Bankstown. You went at Penrith, so it would have been at Bankstown. Luke Wood was there, but I knew Luke Wood well, so I probably remember you there because I think it was the first time I actually met you. But I remember you speaking to one of the blokes that was there, and he was pretty starstruck when he met you, and he was there eating chicken and veggies. He was just having chicken and greens, and the first thing you said to him was like, "What the fuck are you eating that for?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm dieting. I'm trying to grow, get bigger, and blah blah blah." And he's talking about how much into his bodybuilding he is, and you basically put him in his place straight away and said, "Fuck, you're a fucking weed, mate. Go outside and have a couple of burgers, and then come back and talk to me." But you put him in his place straight away. I've never seen someone's face.
Well, that's the thing. Like you get a lot of people like that where they'll be eating, like I said, they'll be eating chicken breasts and all these vegetables, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" "I want to gain weight. I want to put weight on." Or people say, "Oh, dirty bulk." Like, to me, it's just bulking up. People say, "I want to bulk up, but bulk up clean." It's like, you can't bulk up clean. If you want to bulk up, fucking bulk up. You're going to put a bit of fat on, get used to it. Just eat the fucking foods. Look at that video of me at Forwards Gym that Andy took that time when I'm fucking posing at Forwards Gym. I think I was like 270 odd pounds there. And like I said, I don't give a fuck. When you diet down, that's when it counts if you're going to compete when you get on stage. But people try and do all these new fucking fancy things these days where I want to get big, but I don't want to get fat, and I want to do this. It's like you can't have it both ways. You're either going to bulk up or you're not going to bulk up. And then you get these guys where I want to put weight on. They say, "What are you eating?" "Well, I'm having chicken breasts and salad, and I'm having some oatmeal." I'm like, that's a fucking diet. How the fuck are you going to put weight on eating that type of food? So, it's like I said, people just like it's just like I said. After these days, it's just more for the Instagram and the likes, and or it is for actually putting their fucking heart and soul into it and just going to bust their ass these days. So.
Yeah, definitely.
People see that video too, that old video that I took of you at back in, I don't know what that was, 1990, somewhere around there, where you're blown out off season. But what they don't see on the video is you see just overall mass and beef and stuff. But in real life, let me tell you, Mark, that in real life that was fucking huge when you stood next to it.
Yeah.
You don't appreciate it on a video like that because you're so fat,
A lot of people are scared to get fat. We know Gully's not. Look at his head.
I've been non-stop today.
Well, like I said, if you're going to get into bodybuilding, you look back at the old days. NASA, Dorian, all the guys that actually each year you could see, like Sean Ray, he was consistent like Dexter. He looked good every year. But when you look back at the guys where every year you'd be like, "Fuck me, Dad," you could actually see the progression they made. They always got bulked up in the off season. So, like I said, if you're not worried about it and you're going to put a bit of body fat on, go do it. You can lift heavier weights. Your joints have got more cushioning around them from the fat and the fluid and shit like that. So it's just like, go out and do it. And when you die down, every year people would tell me at the gym, and when I was in America, "Oh, you're a fat cunt, Lee. I'd read stuff online. He's a fat pig. He's never going to get in shape." Then when I get in shape, "Oh, fuck, we knew you could do it, mate. We knew you could do it. You look one of the best there." So it's like, it's just always amazing what people say. But like I said, back in the day, it was always like, I remember Andy would be the first. He'd call me up, "Lee, I just got the Mr. Olympia VHS tape sent to me." This would be like a month or so after the Olympia, or you'd be waiting for the magazines to come to Australia, which will always get here probably 2 months after the Olympia. So we just had magazines and the videos back then. So there was none of this shit talk and stuff going on. If you went to the gym back in the day and you saw a bigger guy, you'd walk over to him and ask him, "Hey, how do you train? Can I work in with you? Can I do this?" And there's more comradeship back in the day. People were friendly. People got along better in the gym. You wouldn't put people down. If you saw someone big, you'd be like, "Oh, fuck, wonder what he's doing," and you'd watch him. I walk into a gym now, and as soon as you walk in, people walk in there, you're just looking at, "Oh, fuck, who does he think he is?" and stuff. So I don't get that mentality where most people go to the gym to better themselves, or if they're a young kid, they want to go and build muscle and get big. So why do you hate me for being where you want to get to? Just come over and ask me some advice. But, everyone's an expert these days. I see kids training wrong. I remember 2 years ago, there was a guy doing bench, and he was only sort of 3 plates, and he was only bringing it down like 2 inches. And I just kept watching and thinking, "Oh, fuck, I'll go say something." So I went over and said, "Hey, that's pretty strong what you're doing there. You're pretty strong. But maybe if you just went back to 2 plates and brought it down a bit further." "Fuck off, this is how Ronnie Coleman does it." I'm like, "Oh, fucking okay, sorry." So it's like,
Yeah, but Ronnie Coleman's chest comes up to here. That's why he only moves the tree.
That's why that guy had his mental thinking that his chest was up there where Ronnie's was.
Right. So. Yeah. No, you see it every day.
The whole, like I said, I love the sport and that, but there's sometimes I've walked in the gyms now where if I don't train up well, I sometimes just go to an Anytime Fitness gym and stuff like that. And I've actually walked in the gyms and seen guys in there swinging weights around in their tank tops, doing shit, taking photos. I just turn around and walk out. I'm fucking embarrassed for them. I just leave the gym myself. I'm like, fuck, I don't even want to train here with those type of people around me. So it's just strange the way the whole fitness thing's going. Like I said, I'm all for people going to the gym, getting healthy, no matter whether it's competing, bodybuilding, whatever. Just, in general life. You know, most gyms, people make their money from the average person coming to the gym. If you're going to make money off bodybuilders in the gym, you go fucking broke. So, the average person that goes to the gym, and like I said, I've always considered myself, to this day, when I go somewhere, people go, "Oh, you're a Lee Priest." I'm like, I'm just Lee, because to me, that's what I see myself as. Yeah, I got a pro card back in the day and I competed as a pro, but that doesn't make me any better than anybody else going into the gym. And I remember a couple of times at Gold's Gym, you'd see some pros come from out of town. They got the people, how many sets you got on that machine, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting ready for a show. I'm like, it's just fucking rude. Go fuck off and do something else, because if I was getting ready for the Mr. Olympia, okay, that's important to me, but if a lady wants to lose 20 pounds, that's just as important to her as me getting ready for the Olympia, so I don't have to write the equipment more than what she does. So there are a lot of things in the sport that are good, and there's a lot of things that are bad in the sport too. So a lot of the times in the sport, it's mainly egos and shit, and now social media sort of turns it onto that bad side more often than
I don't see it getting any better than that. It's always, I think it's in regard to the social media and everything like that, I think it's just
like I've always said, it's like anything on social media. You know, I'd put out there sometimes, people would be like, "Oh, Lee, you fucking cunt, you said this or said that," and like, "Oh, fucking, if I see you," I'm like, "Mate," I said, "I'd be a hitman's wet dream." I said, "I go to the same gyms, generally the same time, every fucking day. If you want to see me somewhere, here's a list of places I'm going to be doing seminars, or I'm going to be here or there." It's like, just turn up and see me. I said, if a hitman was after me, he'd fucking get me straight away. So, but yet, in all these years I've been to expos, seminars, I've never had one person turn up and say, "Hey, I'm that idiot from online that fucking called you this or said that." You just don't fucking hear it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, Galley's phone just died, so we're gonna have to wrap up.
Like his fucking bodybuilding career.
Now, we'll have to wrap up. We can rip him apart now because he's not here.
We can't rip him apart. Come on. No. He's already done that a good job of himself.
I wouldn't do that to him anyway. Look,
we got Mick Galley, no career. We got you going through fucking chemo. Good thing Andy and I are still here.
Oh, don't look that sick. Fucking hell.
Long live the old guys, Andy. washed up guys opening gyms and running contests.
Look,
is it a world gym?
Well, it is a world gym. It is a world gym.
Of course, it's a world gym.
Of course, it is. Look, we'll wrap up.
Why didn't you open a Doty's? Fucking Sydney needs a Doty's gym.
Nah, I'm loyal, mate. I'm loyal. I've been with World Gym for many, many years, mate. So I'll stick with that. So. Yeah, I'm one of the rare ones that are actually loyal when it comes to it. just like back in the day, you were loyal to the fucking Grahams. Hey, look, I knew that anything.
What happened there when fucking push came to shove? Tony, bye Paul, bye Carol, fuck you.
Hey, look, I got burned. That was what finally made me change my mind. And yeah, look. We don't need to go there, but yeah, it was.
Why not?
Because we all know.
Let's ask you about your times with the Grahams.
I don't have a bad thing to say about them. They've never done wrong by me. It was other people that were affiliated with the Grahams that did wrong by me that made me end up saying fuck this shit at the end of the day.
Were you ever told you can't sponsor other competitions?
No, I was never in a position where. Yeah. But I did get a phone call once from Nathan Page to tell me that I can't go to anyone else's show. I was at an A&B show with clients, and I remember I did get it, that was frowned upon.
Yeah, I get that. That's why I used to hate about it, because to me it was like simple as that. You've got clients that compete in another show. You're loyal to the IFBB. That's where you compete. But if you've got clients or you had a training partner that was competing, why can't you go support them or watch them? To me, it's like even the whole competing as an amateur. It's like, if you're a member of the IFBB and they've got a show on this weekend that you dieted down for, you pay your membership, you pay your entry fees, your family buys tickets, they go and make money. Then 2 weeks later, if Napa had a show, you're still in shape. Why can't you go? It doesn't affect the IFBB show. They've already had their show. Why can't you go over there? I've never understood that.
Well, that was my argument. My argument was, look, this is the amount of money I made this day with the 15 clients that I had. Is the IFBB going to pay me that to not go anywhere? To not go to any other show of any other federation? And he's like, no. Well, shut the fuck up. Yeah, like this is my bread and butter. This is what I do for work, and I bodybuild for a hobby.
That's the thing, because the majority of people that love the sport love to compete, for whether it be for fun or whether they can make a career out of it. But generally, like I said, back in the day, everyone just did it for fun. Everyone hung out there. Gyms back in the day would have barbecues, and you'd have like gym days where everyone got together and just spoke to shit and stuff like that. But now, like I said, when people go to shows now, I feel bad because, we'd sit there, even if your division came on early, you'd still stay and watch the show, maybe a guest poser come on at the end. But sadly, now you go to some of these shows where someone does their class, their family takes photos, they take their snapshots for Insta, then they're fucking out of there. And by the end of the time the show's over, the last class walks on, there's fucking no audience left. It's like everyone's just in it for themselves. No one stays there. Yes, sometimes shows can drag out, but shit, I've had it shows that are dragged out, but you still stay there and fucking support everybody. But sadly now, people are all fucking off and taking their photos of what they're eating before the fucking show's halfway finished. So.
And posting it on Instagram, yeah. It's definitely taken a different turn. But anyways, look.
Hand out the awards at the end of the show so everyone has to fucking stay.
Well, the overalls of the show, that's helping a lot. A lot of people are sticking around to watch the overalls, and we have them at the end of the show. So that was the reasoning behind waiting the overalls, obviously. But look, with all the different categories now and all the different divisions, it's a little bit hard for people to stick around, especially the people in the crowd. But
especially in America. But the good thing about America is now, I think some of them now are starting to break it up over 2 days because some of those shows back over there, you get the Nationals of the USA's where even just figure girls would turn up. You got 200 or 300 fucking figure girls, and fuck me, how they can judge that is beyond the joke because it's like I said, it's hard enough judging bodybuilders and getting them in the right order when you've got fucking 200 or 300 girls all turning up with fake tans, fake noses, fake tits, fake lips, fucking fake everything. It's like. Have you ever noticed too, this is a funny thing, that I've actually been out at places when people say to me, oh, you put those chemicals in your body, those steroids, inject that in, and I'm looking at this girl who'll have fucking lips like this, and fucking cheeks here, and fucking this and tits done. I'm thinking, oh, fuck, it's a good thing you don't put nothing in your body then, is it? It's the same as like in America where this water's, like I said, I always drink tap water. If I'm driving somewhere, I might buy a bottle of water from a garage, but I've always drank tap water. And in America, everyone's got fucking bottled water, this bottle, get water delivered. I'm like, said to some bodybuilders, why do you drink that? They're like, don't you know the chemicals that are in that water? I'm like, really? The chemicals in that water, and you're putting all that fucking shit in your body that you buy from fucking Mexico, you're shooting growth hormone, insulin, all these fucking oils, and you're worried about the fucking chemicals in the fucking water? So it's like I said, it's like, I never understood this fucking mentality. I can't drink that water, there's chemicals in it. Okay, let me go have another fucking 6 shots or something that I have no fucking clue what's in that.
Very true. All right, we'll wrap up there because we're always been recording for 2 hours, so this is going to be a shitload of memory for people to download or upload. But look, mate, I appreciate you coming on. It's a Sunday when we're recording. I don't know when I'll upload this up.
That's on. Right. I missed church now doing this.
Don't worry, you've got your 7:30 p.m. session that you can still get to. That Hillsong down the road. But look, mate, we really appreciate both of you coming on. Lee, we've been meaning to get you on for a while now, and we finally have.
Like anything else, we'll talk. Lee, you want to come down and judge a posing thing? Lee, you want to come to this? Yeah, I can do that. Never hear back from him, Andy. Always ask me.
No, this is where he's full of shit. This is where he's full of shit because
I can do it. The posing thing, Lee, would you be interested in this? I said, yeah, let me know. Never fucking heard back.
Well, listen.
There you go, Mark. You got to pick your game up.
Look, I've invited him to both my shows now. I've only promoted the two.
Yeah, but the first time I was actually had to go away. I just got back from overseas. But then the second was that we're going to do some posing award. Would you like to judge? And I said, yeah, let me know. And then I think he said, what would we call the award? I said, I don't know. He goes, I'll get back to you. Never got back to me.
Do you know why I didn't get back to him?
He must have found someone else. He must have emailed Josh.
Do you know why I didn't get back to him? Because you fucking deleted Facebook. You deleted Facebook.
I still had Facebook.
Mate, I still don't even know how to get in contact with you.
Do you have Instagram?
I've got Instagram. I'll have to contact you through Instagram. I think I'll contact you through Instagram, there. But you didn't even fucking reply. But anyway, look.
Whatever. He never got back to me, and he never got back to me.
Well, then, I expect you to be handing out an award at our next show at the Pro League in New South Wales. How about that?
Okay, I'll say it on here. I will then. I'll come down to your Pro League show and hand down an award. How's
Beautiful. That's all I want to know.
We'll even fly Andy Cunningham down for it.
He better come.
I've already texted Tony today, so I'll say it on here. Don't cut this bit out, Mark. I text Tony today to say that they should have at the Queensland one the hardest individual trainer award. HIT for short. I'm going to award it, and they're going to tag me, Tony, and IFBB Pro League to be as a contestant in the Queensland qualifier. They're going to be in that. Send footage of them training, and between me and Tony, we'll pick a winner. There you go. What do you reckon, Tony?
Well, I'll tag him in this. I'm sure he'll listen, so we'll see what he says. But it's a different type of award.
No one listens to your show. What the fuck?
But here you are.
This is it. We even lost fucking Gally.
He died, mate. He died. He probably fell asleep.
He had to go watch fucking 60 Minutes or something.
All right, we'll wrap it up. I've got a family barbecue to get to anyway. But
that's right. And you've got to go plug in next round the chemo. Good luck on that.
And you've got church, and Andy's got to go brush his teeth.
But he's lucky though. He takes that fucker out to clean it. He
just puts it in a jar, and that's it.
There you go.
All right, boys. All right. Oh, look, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's been a good chat. And look, we do look forward to getting you both on again. There's plenty. We could talk all day, but there's plenty more we can talk about.
Next time you'll have to because you're on Facebook. Ask your Facebook friends to send in questions that they'd like answered.
Well, I did, and I forgot to fucking read them out to you. That's how professional
I am. Yeah, there we go.
At least he's honest.
You can save that. You can save that for the next show.
We'll save it for the next show. That's a good idea. All right, buddy. Well, thanks again for coming on, and for anyone watching or listening, I'm not sure whether or not the video recording is going to work because I haven't practiced that yet, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, like I said, none of this fucking recorded. I've just been sitting here for 2 hours.
Hey, but we've been talking shit and it's been fun. So
it's been wonderful.
Either way, thanks for listening.
I'm going to go have a pull.
On that, we'll catch us all later. See you later.
See you.